Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Ashes Wednesday. I am, of course, joined, you can see him now, by a very special guest, Rodney from Watch It Played. Rodney, thank you so much for joining me on this crazy, we're snowed in at home stream. Obviously, I was commenting in the chat before we started, but you're literally the only other human on the planet that I know that has Ashes Reborn cards, and I feel very fortunate that was the case. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, yeah, I really, yeah, people shouldn't take this too seriously when they say I'm a special guest. I'm like the only guest you could have on for Ash's playthrough. I shouldn't take this as too big of a compliment, really.
Well, I will say, a little, I know we've been talking historically when Ashes came
Yeah,
back, because you came out to the store in Tulsa when we had Ashes weekend a long time
I
ago.
sure did. Yeah.
And, we've interacted ever since. And bringing this game back was really, honestly, quite a privilege that we got to do. And I know you were excited about it. But we've been talking about potentially playing Ashes over Zoom anyway. And that's
Right.
part of why I was able to stream from home this week, is because I had been setting that up and I had some of the equipment going for that. So I'm curious, have you played a game like this over Zoom at all, or is this going to be your first experience?
This is definitely my first time doing Ashes Reborn. I think I've played Ashes once or twice before over Zoom, though. Just because, not having local players and having some friends online who were into the game too. Marty Cannell from Rolling Dice and Taking Names. I believe I played it with him once or twice, and maybe one other. But back then didn't have quite the same setup I have here. Like, I think this is going to be
Sure.
slightly easier to follow, hopefully for the viewers as well.
Yeah.
But I'm really excited to sort of get a chance to play this again, because I played quite a bit of Ashes over the holidays.
I saw you
when I
posting
was
some pictures about that.
Yeah. Well, my daughter was a very willing opponent, which was great. And we were just going through, because I just at that point had the core set, right, for Ashes Reborn. And we were just playing all the decks, but she got really stuck on Jessa. She wanted to play that, right, that deck. So every game was switching and playing a different one, and was winning every time. And she was refusing to stop because she just wanted to get a win with Jessa. So I got to see a bunch of the different decks. And really enjoyed that. But what I think I particularly enjoyed was playing one game over and over and over again. Like, we played 2 or 3 games a day, basically. It felt like, and I don't really often do that anymore with any games. That kind of like repetitive play where you get a little bit underneath the surface and the strategies start to become like you're connecting things in your brain, and you don't have to actively think about them anymore. They just starting to become passive choices. Like, oh, I know not to do that. I should do this. You start making those kind of, you start feeling smarter a little bit, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's really quite interesting, because I know you do a lot of tutorial videos, and you're learning new games all the time.
Right.
Whereas we historically dive a little deeper into the games that we play, and we get that experience a lot where you actually start to have those mental tricks, and you dive deeper. So what is it about Ashes? I know you've really loved this game since even the first edition of the game. What about this game drew you in? Why do you think it's so great?
Yeah, good question. Because I remember the first couple games I played of it would have been before, it would have been like early prototype versions of it. And to be honest with you, the first couple of games, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this very much. It was very different, at the time from any other kind of card dueling game I played before. And I think it was the third game of it where, I don't know, just something clicked, and I was like, oh, this is like something magical happened, But isn't that also just sort of a tangent a little bit there? Isn't that so frequent the way things can be, right? You play a game for the first time, maybe even a second time, and it doesn't grab you for whatever reason. And you can become very convinced in your own mind that this game has got nothing for me. Like, this is just not my game, But on that third game, I mean, it just changed. And now, of course, I've fallen down quite the rabbit hole with it. And I would say now it is my favorite card dueling game of all the ones I've played. So to answer your question, though, there's a number of things I really like about it. It's difficult not to express those things I like without sort of criticizing the things I don't like in other similar games. I don't mean to do that, but it's difficult not to compare in some ways.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, I played a lot of Magic. I played Magic when it first came out. The great game. Like, just you're buying collectible things that you can actually use for something else. You talked about this recently, I think, in your podcast. Actually, it's just kind of that phenomenon of like, oh, opening packs of sports cards with gum in it that you can't do anything with other than collect it. And now it's that same concept, but now we can do something with it. That was just very alluring to me. But taking Magic as a good example, that's a game where the resources of the game, the land, it's so dependent on the card draw.
Sure.
You can have a game where you're just not getting the lands, and so you're sitting there with things you want to play and you can't because you don't have the resources to do them. Ashes has resource management as well, but there's a certain baseline amount of resources you're going to have to work with, and I like that. I like that. I still have to make important choices about how I spend it, but I know I'm not going to go into a new turn strapped. If you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to have a round or two or three where I'm not drawing the actual fuel necessary to do anything in my deck. And obviously deck building can help offset that, but I like that I don't have to be so focused on the resource management. And the first 5 is another kind of just game-changing, brilliant. I mean, if I didn't like the resource restrictions around Magic there, the first 5, like another brilliant thing where, again, I pick the opening 5 cards. I built my deck. I have something I want my deck to sort of do well. I get to decide how my game's going to start. And I could see someone going like, well, doesn't that take some of the drama out? Because you don't, if you had to draw blind, then you don't know what you're going to get, right? But there's plenty of drama left. There's a whole deck here left of cards I'm going to draw, and I don't know what order it's going to be in. I don't know what you're going to do. That's enough like drama for me. I want to feel going into it that I'm a powerful Phoenix-born. I've got a plan. I've got a mission. You know what I mean? And I'm setting up that mission. I'm going to try to execute at least some portion of it before it all goes to hell, basically. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that's the thing with the variance on that is, and we interviewed Isaac and Nick right when we announced that we were helping bring Ashes back. And the two things that he specifically mentioned were you start with 10 resources and you have 10 resources for the whole game. You also get to start with your spells in play, or your first 5 lets you get spells in play.
Yes.
So your Phoenix-born is basically at peak power the whole time. And whether or not that's good enough to defeat your opponent is the question being asked, not necessarily like in Magic, as an example. You're both building, and it's about who gets to their peak first and then who wins. And so you just
I hadn't thought of it that way.
That's
interesting.
Yeah. So naturally you have games where I get to my peak form and you don't, and then you lose, and vice versa.
Right.
Or neither of us quite build outright, or both of us build outright. And so Ashes is always the case that you get to that moment where we're both built, and then we get to see what happens, which I think is the most interesting version of Magic that can happen, right? Or any game that's happening, which is cool. Well,
I do.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say one other thing. The other thing I really like with the game too is that those spells that you bring out that then allow you to summon creatures effectively, right? Again, a common trope in these other games is, am I going to get the creature I want to bring out? And here you've got a way of basically always creating units on some level, not an infinite number of them. And especially with Ashes Reborn, it seems like they've restricted the number of conjurations, for example, quite a bit, which I think is smart. But I like that aspect too, that again, I'm not like drawing, hunting. I need something to defend myself. I'm totally exposed here. I like that element too.
Very cool. Well, Rodney, do you want to go ahead and dive in? And again, today I told you this before we got on camera, but we're going to lean back and just play some Ashes, man.
Yeah.
And if people in chat have questions, feel free, and we'll try to answer some of that stuff while we're going. And who knows what we're going to end up talking about before this is all said and done. I think we both have some questions for each other that we're ready to lob the other's direction. I'm going to go ahead and switch to my table view, and we're going to make sure it's working before we get in. So everyone out there watching, I'd love to hear how it looks and sounds. Obviously, I'm on my home setup, and Rodney's in his Bugatti home studio. So hopefully he's looking better to me. But hopefully you can see the table. I have my little first player token here. I'm going to get some cards out. I'm going to start with Maoni, just so you're aware. She's from the core set. She's been one of my favorite Phoenix-born since the beginning of the game. And I felt like that would be a pretty decent place to start.
Yeah, I was excited to see you pick Maoni because I think from the core set, Maoni was my favorite. No, I know she was. But I remember I always had trouble with the original Ashes, at least playing. Well, even when I was constructing decks with her, getting something I felt was competitive. I loved the way that she worked. I loved the whole notion of like things dying, fueling this giant conjuration that would then come, for the big hit. But I just couldn't make something really happen. And I found, again, at least with a couple of games I played over Christmas with her, it felt a little more, she felt a little more competitive that way. And
Sure.
and so I'm also a little bit nervous going up against her now because I've never faced Maoni. I've only played with Maoni, and yeah, I don't know how Brennan's going to play. I picked Brennan for mine because that was the deck actually that I took to the Ashes tournament in Tulsa.
That's awesome.
When we played there. And now that was a constructed deck. Here we're playing with just sort of the base decks, right? And I don't know how this is going to play. I have no idea. I saw somebody in the chat say, this is going to be an epic match of the ages. I don't know. It might it might be an epic fizzle for the ages. I don't know. But I'm looking forward to it.
At worst, I think we'll have a really good time. I'm totally with you. I liked Maoni from the very beginning. She's one of my favorite characters, and the way she looks and her lore and stuff. But then never could quite get it to work. And her update, so her new ability, just for everyone who's not as familiar with the Reborn version, is a side action: exhaust 2 resources, choose an unexhausted unit I control, deal damage to a target unit that Rodney controls to the chosen unit's value. So actually it can be any target unit. I could hurt myself if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But it used to be that you had to exhaust and pay a resource to give an attacking unit +2 attack, which is similar to this, but different because it obviously lets you use a unit without having to use a unit. And that with the battle math changes. And also her battlefield, I think, used to be a 3, which was like...
It's very restricted. It was a 3. Yeah. And now it's
painful.
4, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is 4 at this point. And Brennan, I don't know if you watched it, but the last time we actually streamed Ashes, I was actually using Brennan because I'm a burn kind of player.
Yeah,
and it went pretty well. So I'm excited to see Brennan on the other side of the table. All right, let me get this situated in a way now that I can see my screen. Hold on a second. Feel free to shuffle up and all that kind of stuff. I picked my first 5.
I've shuffled. I'm good, I think. I got my first 5 as well.
And I need to roll my dice. Have you rolled your dice yet?
Oh, I haven't. No. Let me do that. This is a good roll. Let's see who's got the most basics.
That's right.
Who's the most basic hero? I got 2.
That's not very basic. I have more. I have, oh my goodness, I'm full of basics.
All right. Well, who do you want to go first?
I will go first. And let me put this.
The pressure's on here too. Something else I saw in the comments, which made me a little nervous. Someone going like, I expect to see no rules mistakes in this.
Oh man.
How has that gone for you when you've been doing the live streams? Have you had people catch little errors here and there, or yourselves, or has it been flawless every time?
You know how we play. It's definitely flawless. Just kidding. Chat actually is incredibly helpful in the rules department, especially because like we've been streaming 4 or 5 days a week, so we're playing a bunch of different games, and all of these games have those weird edge cases that you know, timing and sequencing, especially on a game like Ashes that you knew how to play one version and you're playing a new version. And so it's well, how does the battle math work exactly in this one, et cetera, et cetera. So chat is incredibly helpful in almost all of our streams. So if you do see something in chat and you catch us, let us know, because Joe, I appreciate this, saying Steven's the one that makes all the mistakes, never Zach, ... That's not true. That's just blatantly false, but I appreciate the support.
All right, looks like a couple comments wondering about if they're gonna be able to see your player map. I don't know. I think once you get some things on there, it'll probably be okay.
Yeah, I moved Maoni so that she could be seen. I actually let me go over and see if I can make this. I don't want to mess with this too much.
Yeah, no, we fine-tuned everything. It's like a delicate pile of eggs, and if we pull anything out, it's all going to come crashing down.
I do have. All right, let me think about this for a second. Which way I can go?
Caesar wants to know, where'd you get that playmat?
My playmat?
Yeah, yours.
Oh, I see what's happening. Hold on. I got my playmat at Ashes Weekend in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Nice.
Which Rodney was at. That was such a great event, honestly.
That was not the with this. Yeah, I was gonna say that event was not the only competitive event I've been to. I don't do a lot of competitive events, but I have to say it was one of the most positive experiences I could have imagined at a competitive event, because I think some people, especially if you're not used to them, or maybe you've heard some stories about competitive events, it could be a little intimidating. They're going to be seated with people who are taking the game very seriously and aren't going to have much patience for someone who makes a mistake or is taking their time or whatever the case may be. I found everyone so helpful and encouraging, and everyone kind of wanting everyone to do well. At the same time, of course, wanting to do well for themselves. But there was a lot of time spent, I think, kind of like between games, just sort of workshopping. Hey, like this might work better in your deck, or what about that? And it was just a really friendly kind of environment to be in. Not to mention, your location was just beautiful for that kind of event too. Nice and open and clean, and all the things if there's a stereotype one has of a friendly local game store, sort of the more negative end of it is like the exact opposite of that. Like it was such a nice environment to be in.
Well, hey, I really appreciate you saying that. We try, and we're super excited. We've been working for a couple of years on the concept for our next what we call 3.0 of our store.
Yeah, 3.0. I've listened to the podcast. I'm keen to hear how that takes shape.
Yeah, we should definitely have you out at some point, because I'd love to know what you think once it's fully in motion. But I'm glad to hear that. That's one thing we always try to make happen at our events is even this, right? I mean, I think there could be a certain intimidation playing a game against anybody. So when you can go somewhere like that at a pretty competitive event and still have a really good time and it not feel too intense, that's like the ideal balance if I were picking. All right, you ready to do this? I'm not going to mess with the camera because I got nervous.
Okay. I'm good. I'm ready.
Okay. I'm going to play Summon Silver Snake as my main action. And I have a spell board of 5, so that'll just be my action. Side actions, let's go ahead and meditate. I need to look at my... So I'm also going to just kind of talk through what I'm thinking without necessarily spoiling. So especially this first side action, one thing I found in Ashes Reborn is like, there's a lot of pressure on how many things you want to do as side actions. And so you have to be really selective, because like I've had so many times where I will just pass a side action, not thinking it's that important. And later there won't be enough actions because we both pass our main action that turns over.
Right.
The side actions in that I need to get in.
Yeah. Sometimes you're right. If you delay it too long, it's like, oh, I don't have a main action I can take now to pair with this side action.
Yeah, absolutely.
And my opponent has passed. Uh-oh. Yeah, exactly.
It is a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and meditate, and I'm going to discard cards from the top of my deck one at a time to change some dice. So there's one. We're going to turn this into a snake. We're going to do a second one.
You're not content to be so basic anymore, huh?
No, I've decided to evolve.
Okay.
I'll meditate one more time, and let's look, make sure I'm getting the right values here. We're going to go with one more frog. So I have 3 frogs, 2 snakes, a heart, and 4 basics. Hopefully you can see that at this point. And then I'll pass to you. That's my action side action, not technically pass.
Okay, a lot happening over there. I'm going to... I think I'm going to start with... This is probably... I have regrets already. I'm gonna do Black Cloud Ninja. It's coming out. All right. Okay. Sneaky Black Cloud Ninja. That's gonna cost me a main action and a basic. One of the nice things for me, it's my deck is mono, so I don't have to really think too much about the distribution of the colors in this deck. I don't have that to deal with, which you have a little more thinking to do that on that regard. Mine has an ability that says Seal Strike 1. When this unit is declared as an attacker, you may choose a target opponent to place 1 exhaustion token on an unexhausted ready spell of their choice that they control. So that's my main. I think as a side action, I'm actually gonna, now that you try to get in my head about the importance of a side action, I'm not falling for that. I'm not doing a side action. You can't compel me to do a side action when I want it.
All right, so you're just gonna pass.
Yeah. Side action anyway.
Yeah, side action anyway.
Ryan would like to know, do we know when Ashes Reborn is going to ship? Oh, the $1 million question, right? It's been delayed a little longer than what would have been hoped, I know, but
yeah, so we originally thought it was going to be here in December, and then essentially the logistics, shipping, customs, boats, ports kind of situation has bumped it back a little bit. Currently, we're expecting it sometime in March, but also worth noting that the second thing coming through the subscription, the first thing is that upgrade kit, but the second thing is that Breaker of Fate deluxe box, and that's still expected in April at this point.
Can't wait for that. Biscotta had a question here. Biscotta77. My birthday will be in about a month. Now I have a decision. Should I buy the Ashes 1.5 core and the Netrunner core, or Ashes 1.5 core and expansion for Ashes? Hard for me to decide. What do you think? That's a good question. I mean, I saw somebody else give a bit of an answer here. I think it's Vince. Oxrador said that there's a lot of game in the core set for Ashes. And I can't really disagree there. There's like 6 Phoenixborn in that. 6 complete Phoenixborn. That's the awesome. That's the other thing. Let me tell you something else I love about this game. You want to get in?
Get into it.
You buy one core set and you've got 6 complete decks. None of this like having to swap, break up the decks to create the other deck you want to make and what have you. Plenty of dice. It's a great starting set. So that gives you a lot of play. To just play every one of those against every other Phoenixborn. You can be bouncing them around. I think that's awesome. So if you really want to get into 2 different games, sure, you could go that way. I'm obviously going to stress like, hey, Ashes is great. Get some of those expansions. But you played a lot of Netrunner. I played a little bit of it. What would you say?
I think it's worth noting back when Ashes first came out in 2015, the fact that you could buy a single starter set and get a play set of everything coming out was actually super unique, because the other non-collectible card games that were coming out, you had to buy like 3 copies of, typically, including the original Netrunner core set. You had to buy 3 to get a play set of everything. So I remember that actually being like a big deal. But I think Netrunner, it ranks as one of my favorite games of all time. So it's hard to go wrong. I do think that the Ashes core set is enough of a unit to really experience the full game and decide whether or not you do want to expand it. So I would never fault anyone for picking up both of those games. It's 2 of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah.
But Netrunner is in the like a community managed development stage, and like if that's something you're into, that's great. But if you have other people around you that are that play games locally, I mean, Ashes is just at the beginning of its second life. So
like a new wave.
It's a really good time to get in, I think, and I'm hopeful to see a lot of communities springing up for this game around the world. All right, I'm gonna make a decision. I'm gonna play, and now your Black Cloud Ninja over there. I'm half saying the name just so it pops up on screen and I can see it in, a quality version, even though there's a little bit of a video delay here.
Sure.
When it attacks,
yes.
I have to exhaust one of my spells, right? But I get to choose the spell I exhaust.
Yeah. So when this unit is declared as the attacker, I can choose a target opponent to place 1 exhaustion on an unexhausted race spell of your choice. Yeah, of their choice that they control. So that's a good clarification.
Yeah, I'm going to play a Hypnotize, which is a spellboard ready spell. A side action exhaust. It would cost me 2 to use it later. Choose a target unit I control to gain the following ability for the remainder of the turn, which is bypass. They can't be blocked or guarded. Yeah, I'm really, that's not a card I use a lot of times on turn 1, but having it in play so that if you do attack with that Black Cloud Ninja, is just kind of insurance policy against you making my Summon Silver Snake go away before I'm ready.
Well, yeah, you foiled my plans there. That's definitely what my next move is going to be, was to definitely swing now, figuring you wouldn't have a unit, so I could put at least 1 exhaustion token on that Silver Snake. Because I figured you'd want to be trying to get it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah. But that's what that Black Cloud Ninja does, right? You're forcing my tempo a little bit. And there's a lot of ways I could have dealt with it. I could have used a side action with my frog to do a damage to your ninja.
Just try to take it out of there.
But I one of the things about Ashes, right, is we both start with these 10 resources. And so like the more I play, the more I'm like hesitant to spend resources until I have to.
Yes. Okay. You got a side action you're gonna throw down there, or are you deciding against it?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and let's take a side action.
Okay.
I'm going to also play an Empower, and this is going to cost me a basic, so I need to be careful here. Leaf, frog.
All right. Yeah.
I'm going to spend this basic to play Empower.
Right. This is one, if I remember correctly, lets you add status as an action. You can add status tokens to other creatures, like say your silver snake.
Who would ever want to do that? Yeah, I mean, that's her signature card, Maoni, is that silver snake. And one of the challenges, even in first edition, but still here, is that you have kind of a unit you want to kind of Megatron into this big giant creature. But of course, there's so many answers to it that, like, if you spend too much time building it, it can be a problem. But having things like Empower to put tokens on immediately is super helpful.
Yeah, to speed it up. And the other thing is, I think the original Ashes, you could have up to 2 silver snakes. So you at least had, this one's really focusing it in. It's going like, if this is going to be your strategy, you better protect this thing, because you don't have a backup at the ready, which I think is actually kind of a good thing, because this silver snake can be a beast. And the silver snake's effect is every time something, if I remember correctly, every time something dies, you get to put a status token on it. So if you have 2 of them, you're getting like double the effect off of every single death that happens. Which can make it devastating. Okay.
Well, I was going to say one of the big changes in 2.0 or 1.5 or Ashes Reborn is a lot of those units became like Silver Snake. It has that conjuration limit of 1, which they're just reining so much in. It's really cool to watch someone take a card pool from several years and kind of condense the power level down into everything more or less being on a similar playing field. There are some obviously exceptional cards, but like, it's at every turn so far, the changes have felt less like a restriction and more like a relief that they made that change.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because unlike a traditional 2.0 where you might see them go in just like all new characters, all new everything, but keeping the general rules the same, but like making a few adjustments. This is really revisiting a card pool that already exists. Like, can you imagine if, I don't know, like Richard Garfield could go back to Magic Alpha or whatever and go, okay, what would we do differently right from the jump? Like if we were starting over, it's pretty wild because they have with Ashes 1.5. And by the way, I played Chant of Worship, which is a side action, by the way. I'm just realizing that now. So I actually have a main action still to do. And it cost me a die there, the class level die. This ready spell says after an ally you control is destroyed, just because you said about spending a frog to maybe kill this guy, I thought, well, I guess he could be dying soon. It says after an ally you control is destroyed, place 1 status token on this spell that has no status tokens on it. And then as a main action, I can remove a status token from the spell to draw a card. So it'll help me sort of keep getting cards during a round potentially.
Yeah, that's a great card.
My side, I need to do a main though.
Yeah. Also, that card reminds me, just looking at everything here, another thing that drew me into Ashes immediately, it was actually the first thing, was how striking the graphic design and the art of this game was, especially compared to every other game I've been playing.
Yeah, can I take my answer back? Like you asked me earlier, like why Ashes? That was the other thing about this, right? Like the art on this was, to me, just, I mean, Fernando Suarez's art is stunning. I'm so happy that the new artist that's been working on Ashes, it has their own style, but it does not feel in conflict with the world that Fernanda already created. So that's awesome. But just so visually striking, so different, like the white, so much of the white strong colors there, but then the artwork, I almost think punches out of it all the more so because of the contrast between them.
Totally.
And the diversity of characters too. I mean, you don't see this kind of diversity traditionally in most games that I play. It's usually, you're seeing a lot of white dudes and maybe the occasional female in a bikini. Like this is like so much. There's so much more variety here, just visually as well. The world feels richer for it, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's really amazing. When someone asks me why I dig Ashes, you start listing it and then you realize there's a whole bunch of reasons, which is obviously why it's on like, high on the list of top games we played of all time, kind of a thing.
And yet I feel like the game, didn't get its best chance to make the strongest impression it could have, just because of the early production challenges and some of those things. I think it was gaining momentum, but then got hung up by some things that were kind of out of the control of the people behind the scenes, who wanted this to be successful. And certainly the community, I think, that was really rallying behind it, in terms of, this is a game people should be playing. Like, check this out, like The fans of it were pretty enthusiastic. By the way, I put it as my main action, summon Dread Wraith.
Okay, I'm familiar with that one, but can you go ahead and read it to me?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So this one's going to cost me 3 class action dice if I want to summon a Dread Wraith, Conjuration, to my battlefield. When this is focused, I can remove 1 exhaustion token from a Dread Wraith I control. At most, I can bring out 2 Dread Wraiths. So it means as long as I have 1 out already, if it's exhausted, when I summon a second one, I can unexhaust the other one, basically.
Nice.
Like tag team partnership. Yeah. And they're kind of unique, the Dread Wraiths, because they, and I don't think I had the Dread Wraiths in my original Brennan deck, my constructed one, but these are attack 1, life 6. So they have a high life threshold, which is good when you're going up against the Silver Snake, by the way. But they have a rage effect that says, and it's an unexhaustible effect, add 1 to this unit's attack value for each wound token on this unit. So its attack is 1, but the more it gets wounded, the stronger it becomes.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's definitely, for whatever reason, that style of unit really appeals to me. That's why I like the Silver Snakes as well. Basically, these things that can be very powerful, but you kind of build to it.
Didn't you love Gimli in Lord of the Rings LCG? He was the same way, right? Like, I think that was his effect. The more, and so if you could put armor on him, then he just became this powerhouse because he could take even more damage, and they became even stronger.
Absolutely.
Which thematically was fun, but also as an effect is fun. Yeah.
Okay, and so you don't actually have 2 Dread Wraiths out. That's a little terrifying, right?
I can potentially have them. I was just showing you. It's a glimpse into the future, Zach.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just keeping my head
things
straight
to come. Here. Yeah.
Okay. So my turn. I'm gonna keep it simple. And we're gonna play a Summon Gilder spell, and it costs me a heart and an action to play it, and then later as an action I can exhaust it and spend a leaf, place a Gilder Conjuration on my battlefield, and then I can deal damage to a target unit.
Oof, just another great way just to ping stuff away from me.
Yep, you'll see a trend in the old,
or to beef up my Dread Wraith.
That's right. Those little ping effects are not very good against the Dread Wraiths.
No. Okay. Well, you got your board full, don't you? Can you put any more? You can still put one more thing out.
I have another spell board slot, technically.
Yeah, technically. Well, that was your main. Have you got a side that you're doing for this one or no?
I'm just going to pass my side action.
Okay. Well, I mean, look, I may as well. Let's get this party started. I'm going to attack with the Black Cloud Ninja.
Okay.
So, I actually forget. I have to go. I'm going to go watch my video quickly. Does it exhaust as soon as I declare the attack? I think it's no. It doesn't exhaust as soon as I declare the attack.
It basically exhausts when you actually resolve the attack.
Resolve the battle type of thing.
Typically, like if I had 3 units out and you had 3 units, you could attack with all 3 at once, and I could block with all 3. Then as the attacker, you would choose which of those engagements
resolve first.
It's one-on-one. Yep. Yeah. And then as they strike is when they actually exhaust. So it's not exhausted yet.
So Black Cloud Ninja is coming in for an attack, and it's been declared as the attacker. So now I'm going to choose you as my target opponent to place 1 exhaustion token on an unexhausted ready spell of your choice.
All right. I will do as I talked about doing earlier, which is exhausting my Hypnotize.
Yeah.
And you're swinging for 1 damage, is that right?
Yeah, big one. So it's attack 1, life at 1, recover 1.
All right. Just a 1/1/1 classic. With a pretty awesome ability. I love that signature unit, actually.
Yeah, good point. That is the signature card. That has to be in Brennan's deck, I think, right? Has to be, or it's the only deck it can be in?
That's right. It doesn't have to be. It just can only be in that deck.
Brennan's deck,
which is fun. That's what the second time around playing Ashes, I didn't really understand it so much as I do now, which is essentially how every Phoenixborn can kind of play any magic type, especially if you're willing to not run the signature card, which is pretty crazy. In my head, that's really not how it worked, but really the deck building is wide open. And when I played that first year. So there weren't a ton of expansions at the time.
Right.
So there were only so many choices, but coming into Reborn, we got copies of all of the expansions, and it was like getting 3 years of content all at once, which is pretty amazing and overwhelming at the same time.
Yeah. But yeah, it was exciting going through and updating all my old content to the new content, because it was like rereading and relearning. And some of these decks I'd bought but hadn't played with yet, and going through them for the first time and being like, oh wow, the gameplay space that this Phoenixborn is creating is really interesting and different than anything I've seen so far. And then opening a new pack and going like, oh, even this one's even different again. So yeah, very cool. Okay, so that's my big attack.
Okay, and did you have any side actions?
No. Well,
okay.
I'm just resolving this attack first anyway. Who knows what I'm going to do a side action?
Yeah. So I'm not going to block with anything.
So you've already taken the damage?
Yeah, I put the damage there because I thought we'd already done that.
Sorry. I didn't see it on there. I'm realizing now I just didn't see it. So it's all done. Good. I'm exhausted there. It's over to me side action. I apologize. And I am... Oh, interesting. Is that a dumb thing to do? You know what I'm going to do?
Tell me more.
Huh. Yeah, I'm going to do this. I'm going to spend a class action die side action. I'm going to use Spirit Burn, which is Brennan's ability.
Yep.
And exhausted, I destroy a unit I control to deal 2 damage to a target Phoenixborn.
Nice.
So this is just going to go away, which feels a little bit wasteful in a sense, because the ninjas around for a little while longer. But I'm thinking, you have that ability to summon a Gilder. You could deal 1 damage to a target unit, and so you could just kill it anyway. Why not cause some damage first? Is kind of what I'm thinking there.
Yeah, no, I think when I'm playing Brennan, that's typically my order of operation, is like get the use out of the unit and then blow it up to do damage. Because you also get a charge. Team's rough. Yeah, because you also get a status token on your
thank you.
Spell,
right.
Which then fuels your ability to draw. So that's all really good. So it does 3 damage.
That. Yeah. Sorry, so that there's a total of 3 damage on Maoni now, but that would have been 2 damage I just did from the effect. Yeah.
Yeah. So good. Okay. Then it's my turn.
Yes.
Okay. As my main action, I'm going to play Open Memories. So we're going to spend a snake as the heart, basically, because it's a 1 level above that. And I'll spend a basic here. And it says, you may search your draw pile for a card, place it into your hand. If you do, shuffle your draw pile.
Great one to have in your hand, I think, at early first 5. To be able to go in there and fish for a duplicate of something, because of course the thing about your first 5 is any 5 cards you can start with, but they all have to be unique. So if there's something you want 2 of, Maoni lets you do that effectively, right?
Yeah.
Which is pretty great.
Yeah, and technically, any character that's running at least 1 charm die could play that card. And I think the most common use of that is going to be, and I went to go get another copy of Summon Silver Snake. So to get a second copy of
makes sense.
Of a spell that has a focus ability, because that focus ability only triggers when you have multiple of that spell out.
Yeah, okay. That's perfect.
So that's in hand, and I need that. I'm just counting my dice here before I decide.
Yeah, for sure.
That. I will pass my side action.
Okay. Yeah. I just noticed a comment here. Oxerator saying, if you guard or block with a unit, that unit must counter. One of the things trying to keep straight, like when must you counter in the game? The little sort of thing I do is I go, if you declare an attack and your opponent does something to change what the target was going to be, then you must counter effectively. That's nice. Sort of how I like little sort of mental memory. If you change what the attacker's original plan had been, then you must. So for example, if I push my units in to attack your Phoenixborn and you go, hold on a minute, I'm going to have some blockers come in and stop that hitting the Phoenixborn. Okay, you're changing the target of my attack. My attack was the Phoenixborn. You're saying, no, it's going to be this unit instead. Okay, then that unit must counter. It's getting up in my business now. And
yeah.
Whereas, or the same thing, if someone's attacking a unit, if I say I'm going to attack your unit, and then you go, hold on, I'm going to put a unit guard in front with the guard ability. Okay, you're changing the target of my attack. You must counter. But if I attack you and you say, fine, I'm not going to like change the target of the attack, then you don't have to counter. at that point.
Yeah. But you can, like, if I attack a unit you control, you could counter with that unit. You can also not counter if you don't want to.
Then you have the choice. Yeah. Well, you haven't put anything out here for me to fight with, to attack. So
Like I said, I'm just taking it nice and easy.
Yeah, I see that. I think what I'll do, I'm going to play something kind of, I don't know, is this kind of, yeah, I think I'll do it. I'm going to spend another class action die, and I'm going to play Choke. It's just an action. It's an action spell. It's a nice one, straightforward. Place 1 exhaustion token on a target unexhausted Phoenixborn an opponent controls. So I'm going to exhaust yours. And then I deal 1 damage to that target Phoenixborn.
Seems good.
Yeah. Straightforward.
Okay. And that was your action?
There it is. That was, yeah, that was my main action. And I don't, What
do you think?
Yeah, I don't have a side. I don't want a side yet.
So I will go ahead and take my main action, which is going to be playing my second copy of Summon Silver Snake. And then I will pass my side action.
All right, we got the other Silver Snake summoning spell in here. Alex wants to know, Rodney, what's your thoughts on the live chat versus comments on videos? I'm not sure. I mean, look, I don't know if I've ever really thought of the question. The nice thing about live chat is there's a certain kind of energy that comes from it, right? Because you're responding in the moment, which can be both good and bad, right? Because my thoughts in the moment aren't always my best thoughts, to be frank, right? So depending on the kind of comment, if you're getting something very positive, it's easy to roll out. You know, if something negative or something a little more critical, sometimes it's nice to have a beat before you have to respond to it, you know, or if maybe someone just asks, not something even critical, just something thoughtful, and you're like, oh, how would what would my answer be for that, you know? But I like both. I mean, the main thing I like is civility. I don't know, thoughtfulness, empathy, you know, like, so as long as that's somewhere in the mix of the comments, then live or after the fact, it's great, because all of it is people caring a little something about what you're doing and wanting to be a part of that, right? I mean, that's, I believe this is true for you, Zach. I know it's been true for me. One of the joys of doing videos about board games is it allows me to connect to the board gaming community. I live in a little town. There's not like a lot of gamers locally to me, although it's growing more than it certainly was when I started. And this has been a way to connect. I mean, look, I'm playing a game right now with you. You know, I wouldn't have someone to play Ashes with right now without this. So this is pretty special, and to be able to share this experience with other people who are also interested in the game or in spending time with us is a pretty special thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
For, you know, we started doing live streams a while back, but it was only about a year ago that we were doing as much live stream as we're doing now. Right. And there's definitely a difference in interacting live than there is when you're commenting. And I think, you know, for me at least, verbally having it's way more of a conversation. Comments online, typically you say all the things you want to say, and then I can say all the things I want to say in response.
Right.
A lot of times it ends there, but at this point you can kind of make point for point, and someone can point something out that maybe you weren't thinking about, and it kind of leads to a more nuanced conversation than just comments on YouTube video.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. All right, so you figure out your game plan yet?
Is it my turn? Oh yeah, you did Summon Silver Snake. Yeah. I got lots of things I'm doing over here. Don't rush me. Okay.
Hey, you're good. We're just having a good time. I will say, it is amazing. You know, I grew up in a small town, and so I can feel your pain being in a small town and not having necessarily a robust community to participate in games with.
Right.
And for that reason, content is amazing. But Steve and I talk about this all the time because we stream together, so we could play with or without the cameras. But getting to interact with people from all over the world on a daily basis is really just kind of an incredible. Tabletop's already great, and getting to share that experience is great. But it's so amazing to really get that connection with hundreds of thousands of people on a routine basis. Even like, especially through a pandemic, Steve and I literally say this all the time to each other. It's like, I can't even imagine what it would be like if we weren't getting that interaction every day, it's made it feel so much more normal and sane for us throughout the past year or so.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially with this past year. But I mean, yeah, the other thing you said there, being able to interact with so many people, like it's, I'm, I don't want to sound hyperbolic, but I am. I mean, how could it not be? I am convinced my life is on a completely different trajectory, even just in the way I think about the people I interact with in a daily life, their situation. Like I've been exposed to so many more things outside of my own point of view because of this. You know, the people I'm either sitting across from the table or I'm talking to online or whatever the case may be. You know, it just by its very nature forces you to have to, I think, have better appreciation for different people in different places in their life and all the rest of that. And that I think is overall like a really strong net positive that I wouldn't have expected from making videos about board games, you know, ultimately. I'm going to, my main actions is going to be chant of worship. I'm going to use the effect on it to exhaust it, remove. By the way, if anyone's watching, while you were starting to talk, I thought I was going to do one main action. I was going to summon a Dread Wraith, and then I clawed that back because I think what I'm going to instead do for my main action is this chant of worship effect. So I remove a status token from the spell, and I draw a card. Basically, before I bring that Dread Wraith out, I just want to see what other options I might have this round to do other things with before because the Dread Wraith it's pretty big investment to bring out. Okay, so that was my main. As a side, I don't have a side I want to do, so I will stop there.
Okay. And just so you're aware, you can't see it, but I have no hand of cards right now.
That's good to know. Yeah, I have two, just so you know.
Yeah. Occasionally I've been able to see your hand, and then it just dawned on me that like you can't see my hand without having cards in them. I feel really weird just not having a hand actually in a card game. So I think it's time. You know what I mean? Don't you think it's time?
Yeah, I think it's time you start to summon some targets for me.
Yeah. I have all these cards.
To start bolstering up your army is what I mean. Sorry, yeah.
That's exactly. I knew exactly what you meant, where you were coming from on that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and summon a silver snake. So it's going to cost me an action, exhaust, a snake, and a frog. And then I get to summon a silver snake. So the silver snake has X attack. We'll come back to that. 4 life, 3 recovery. Consume after a unit opponent controls is destroyed. Place a status token on this unit. X equals the number of status tokens on this unit. So 0 attack right now. But actually, that's not true.
No, you're focused.
Focus 1 on the summon silver snake says, place a status token on that silver snake when I summon it. So it comes in at 1 attack.
Yeah, that's great. Such a great to be able to do open memories to get that second silver snake in round 1 so that when you bring them out, they're already ready to do some damage. That's fantastic. And the fact it has recover 3 is pretty intimidating too to your opponent. You're like, I got to kill this thing outright, or it's healing a whole bunch. Quick hello to Henry. I recognize Henry Whitehead. Glad he's here. He said, very interested in the game. Still on the fence. Looking forward to checking out. Great stream. Thanks, Henry.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that's your main. You got a side you want to do there? Or
no, I'm just gonna pass. Also, Henry, if you haven't watched it already, Rodney did a phenomenal watch it played for Ashes Reborn. That is a great. It's like 20 minutes, and it covers everything you need to know to learn how to play this game.
Yeah, I was really happy to be able to revisit Ashes, like to work with Planet again to do a sort of an updated tutorial video. Again, you know, I do love the game. It's you know, all the games I feature on the channel I like in some way. But this game is definitely special to me for sure. So, okay. So I think now it is time to bring out the Dread Wraith. So that's going to cost me, unfortunately, 3 class dice. I only have 2, so I have to spend, what's the name of is it the power die? Yeah, power die.
Yep.
One of my power dies. And that brings it out. And again, just a reminder, you add 1 to this unit's attack value for each wound that's on it. It can take up to 6 wounds before it dies. It has no recovery though.
Don't punch the Wraith is what you're saying.
Don't punch the Wraith. You got to steamroll the Wraith. You got to like drive over top of it with a truck.
Yeah. And it's currently a 1 attack, you said, right?
Yeah, it's a 1 attack. That's right.
Okay. Any side actions?
No side actions.
Okay. On my turn, I'm just gonna use Empower. So it's an exhaust and an action, and then I can spend either a leaf or a music note. I don't have any music notes with me, so I'll spend a frog, It says place a status token on a target unit I control.
Yeah.
So we'll keep stacking them, stack up those tokens on the
So
Silver
that's a
Snake.
2/4.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I don't know when to start worrying about it. Like the problem is you always start worrying about the Silver Snake too late.
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
oh, he's a 2/4, whatever. And pretty soon he's like a 6/4, and you're like, hold on, I got nothing now. Why didn't I kill this when I had the chance?
Especially with Mayone's new ability, because once he gets to like 5 or 6 damage, you can side action to do its damage to a unit before you attack, so you can clear the way of even like a Dread Wraith pretty easily.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. I kind of forgot about that. Her command strike.
Yeah, but you did exhaust me, so I can't do that this round.
Yes, that's a good point. I'm sort of on my own side here. People can't see it, but I'm kind of putting your cards in front of me so I know sort of what your ready spells are, what state they're in,
sure,
etc., to help a little bit here. All right, so how is it? I wonder, I'm disappearing from the stream for a second. I'm just looking into my Ashes box. I want to see if I kept a couple of the old promos. This is a special thing we're doing here. I'm going to see if the promo is still the same for this card I have in my hand. I bet it's different. It's going to make me sad. Oh, no. Oh, nice. Sweet. These promos aren't legit anymore, I don't think. But I'm going to play it.
Yeah, I hope some of the promos they did for the first edition they do in the Ashes Reborn versions.
I'm sure they'll come back. It looks like
aren't they with the 3 colors?
Yeah, those are cool, right? Okay. Oh, it is different. The effect is different on it. Slightly.
It's okay. You can still play the good-looking one, and then you can just tell me what it does.
All right. It's not a wild difference. All right, I'm going to do this. I'm not sure if it's a great idea, frankly, but I'm going to do it anyway. So, Fire Archer.
Nice.
So this is what the Fire Archer looks like typically, which is a great looking card, by the way. But they did have a couple of promos they gave out. So this one has Ambush 1. It's the same, but what it used to say was, when this unit comes into play, you may deal 1 damage to a target unit or Phoenixborn. Now it can only be to a target Phoenixborn. So the updated card, it's deal 1 damage to a target Phoenixborn.
Nice. Okay,
so I'm going to target yours.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, just to be clear.
Yeah, people earlier were saying you're one of the nicest people in tabletop, and I don't believe them anymore. You could choose your own Phoenixborn here, and yet you're choosing to.
If I was really nice, I would have targeted myself, right?
That's right. That's exactly right. Okay, I'm at 5 damage, by the way, which is 25% of your goal.
Yeah. 25%.
Okay.
I got another promo version of the Fire Archer, which I'll save for later.
I'm excited.
I'll get the whole squad out here. Yeah.
I think my favorite promo from first edition was they did the Guilders. That was actually the unit that made me really love Mayone. There's I forget what the card is, but she's like blasting something. The snake's there, and then under her cape are these little mice with their gold paint brushes, right? Which I thought was just hilarious.
I think they announced that some of the what were the promo Phoenixborns are coming back with their own decks.
Yeah, I think they did. They basically rotated it was like the Mona is one of them, and then I forget the other ones.
Auric?
Yeah. Auric was one.
I think I saw Auric, yeah.
But as far as I know, they are going to bring all those, kind of like in future expansions, bring those characters with their own full decks and stuff, which is cool.
Vincent J, just because he says sorry so much doesn't mean he's remorseful. Yeah, saying sorry is just like a thing I do. I just have to. It's like I can't even control that part.
Yeah, it's part.
What's in my heart? It's glee.
That's hilarious. Okay, I have to think about my life because this summon Dread Wraith's the Dread Wraith is a problem. You know that?
Right, because if you swing, right.
Uh-huh.
And if I swing my Phoenixborn anyway, and I block, that's going to be helpful to me.
Yeah. How much health does your Fire Archer have there? 1?
It's a 1. Yeah. Attack 1, life 1.
All right. I know what I have to do, and I think I have the strength to do it. I'm going to use Summon Gilder.
Following the courage of his convictions. Oh, right.
Spending a leaf we're going to bring in my favorite unit, the Gilder.
Yeah, Gilder's great.
And summon Gilder, when I use it, I can deal a damage to a target unit. So I will do a damage to your Fire Archer, which will defeat it. And then it'll give me a status token on my snake.
Yeah, and I believe it gives me a status token on Chant of Worship because it does not have a status token now.
So I actually think it doesn't because it's not an unexhaustible ability. So when something
I see what you're saying. No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah,
I ran into
good
that
point.
when I was playing Brennan recently.
Right.
Because if you look at like the Silver Snake for people watching, it's got that like box.
Perfect example.
Which means it's unexhaustible. So that ability applies all the time.
Yeah.
But anything that doesn't have that is technically blank once it's exhausted.
Good one.
And then that's my action, and I won't take any side actions.
Huh. Gosh, what do I do now? What do I do now? Well, I think
this is what makes Ashes so great, by the way. You get to these moments and like it's just crunchy in a way that's not like overburdening on your brain, but just
I'm not juggling 500 options here. I'm juggling like 2 or 3, and they're all delicious. And I'm just trying to figure out what deliciousness I want.
Yeah, that's a quality problem.
Yeah, it's a good problem. And I'm also looking. So you got your Gilder out, life of 2. That's the other thing. And they have 0 attack, but a life of 2 makes them just a little more annoying to deal with.
Yeah, you can't just like flick them off the board.
Ping them away. Yeah, exactly. And even if I do, it's inheritance 1 means you get to place a status token on a target unit. So killing it beefs up your snake. Oh my golly gee willikers. Okay.
And it has unit guard. So if you do that with an attack, I can obviously block, get the token, and then it's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Oh man. I think oddly, I'm gonna pass.
Yep. That's not that odd.
I got 1 in my hand, 1 card in hand, but
so I have to basically decide. So obviously I could attack you with my Silver Snake. If you do block with your Dread Wraith, then you would do 1 to my Silver Snake, which I would presumably recover, unless you can do 2 more, which would be a problem.
3 more, right?
3 more. Yeah, 3 more.
Yeah.
Let me think about this. Huh. And you're going to be going first next turn, which is important to remember.
Oh, that is another great thing about this.
Yeah.
This game. I do love that too. The back and forth, the timing of are you taking the first turn or even on the last turn? I mean, it can have such a big impact in an interesting way.
I totally agree with you on that.
Because you know it's coming, you can plan for that. You know that I'm going to have that, and you're going like, okay, that's a disadvantage to me. How do I adjust for it? You know, I love it.
Yeah. And should your summon Dread Wraith be exhausted?
I see that someone asking that. That's a great question. It certainly should be. Sorry.
I just need to make sure that if I do something about your current one, that you don't have another one coming at me. That would be a problem.
Absolutely.
Let's go ahead.
I see Forensic Man saying, hey, watched the Red Rising tutorial, and here you are again, Rodney. Yes, you're getting a double dose of me today, it looks like. Sorry.
I would ask you what you thought about Red Rising, but I don't want to put you on the spot if you didn't like it. So
well, here's the thing.
Give me a wink if you did.
Here's the thing. I don't review on my channel. There's a couple things. I'm not on my channel right now. I'm on your channel. So I tend to loosen up a little bit around those things. But as a general rule, I don't feature games I don't like on my channel. I don't have to love every game I'm featuring, but I need to like something about it. Just because, regular viewers of me have probably heard me explain this before. I answer every comment on every video we've ever done all the way back to like 2011. So if I was doing that for games I did not care about, someone saying, hey, I'm not quite sure on this, how does this work? And I was having to go back to that game and try to help them, and it was a game I didn't like, that would be such soul-sucking work. People are very complimentary and say that I seem to have like a pleasant demeanor. I wouldn't if that's what I was doing all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally understand you on that.
Yeah. So it's Red Rising is very interesting. It's a build off of a game called Fantasy Realms. It's kind of like, and Jamie Stegmaier has kind of credited that game as being an influence, but brought over into this other IP with other elements attached to it. And one of the things I think that's brought over, I don't know Fantasy Realms real well, but that you're building a hand of cards to play and do things during the turn. But at the end of the game, what you're left with in your hand is going to drive a lot of the scoring. So right from the beginning of the game, you could be holding on to something that's going to be in your hand still at the end of the game, final scoring, or you might be like totally radically changing your hand over the course of the game. So you're kind of these two tensions. I'm collecting cards to play them, but I'm also collecting to build the strongest hand possible by the end of the game.
That's a pretty cool dynamic.
It's unique. Yeah, it's unique that way. Sorry, did you do something?
No, I was just listening to your
good
answer because I saw the Red Rising chat.
Yeah. No, I was afraid I'd miss something.
Yeah, I'm going to swing at Brennan with a Silver Snake at 3 attacks.
What's he thinking? You're going to want to kill me outright. All right, I'm going to block with the Dread Wraith. Okay. So because I'm interfering with your plans, I have to counter. And I guess this is the battle we're resolving, right? So.
Yep. So I'll strike for 3 and you'll strike for 1.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll put 1 damage on you and I'll put 1, 2, 3 on me. So technically my attack strength is a 4/6 now. And I'm exhausted.
The key part of that.
Yeah, exactly. The interesting thing is if I hadn't, right, I mean, I'd be able to swing for 1. You'd have your Gilder, I suppose, to block, but I think I'd rather prevent that damage. Okay. Rodney, are you doing anything more? Or are you going to let this poor guy finish the round and draw back up? I think... God, it stinks. That Gilder, I hate it so much. I'm going to pass.
All right. So back to me. I will go ahead and pass because we both passed.
Yeah.
We will go to the end of the round. So a couple things are going to happen. Units get to recover their recovery stat. My snake will clear that damage. We get to remove 1 exhaustion from every one of our cards, which is fun. I'm going to switch this first player token pointing at you, technically, because you're going to be the new first player.
Yeah.
And then we get to roll our dice. You can choose to re-roll any dice in your active pool, and you re-roll all your exhausted dice.
Yeah. I think I've been putting my dice on the opposite sides because the top is what, active, and the bottom is exhausted. Is that what you've been doing?
You can't see my inactive, so I just kind of move them off screen. But yeah, I'm
going to swap where they were. Yeah.
Okay. That's the way I've been doing it, but I followed what you were doing, so I'm not.
I think it makes more sense. Active at the top, and you drag them down as you spend them. So that's what I'll do now. Of course, I'll confuse myself for sure now. Someone said, why doesn't so Tim says, why doesn't Rodney have a set of TC tokens for this game yet? You know what? I did, and I don't know where they are. I
got lost in time and space.
I'll tell you something that happened. And by the way, what are we, an hour in and we've done 1 round? I don't know how, even a little longer than that. I can't help it. I want to just talk.
Well, so part of it as well. We had that intro phase where we weren't really live, so we are only about an hour in so far, and we did a lot of intro talking. I think
we did, and this will ramp up. But I'll tell you something. Just before Ashes Reborn was announced, okay, like a month before that, I got rid of all my Ashes stuff because, and I think this is actually really interesting. It ties into something you've been talking about on your podcast about these. Games that are no longer in print, that there are still subsets of communities playing, and that they still have this sort of life that carries on. I've always been a gamer that loses interest when I know it's no longer in print and sort of being actively supported. I don't know that is, like when I look at board games, for example, like if they stopped printing Mansions of Madness, would I throw out all my Mansions of Madness stuff? No, it's a self-contained board game. I can play it, right?
Yeah.
Ashes is no different. I can still play Ashes and have the exact same experiences I was having while it was in print when it's out of print. I don't have that enjoyment of knowing there's something new coming to refresh it or revive it. But I don't know, man. I'm never going to play through all the possible combinations of what Ashes could offer, even with how much there is now, just knowing the kind of gamer I am. So I don't think I would ever like, do that again. But it was that kind of feeling of like, oh, this game's kind of done. I don't know if I'll ever, find people to play this with. So I got rid of it. Then they announced it. The person I sold it to, I'm like, hey, could I buy that back from you? And they very kindly did. I traded them some other stuff from my collection back for that. And that was very kind.
I mean, I think that's a really interesting, conversation, which is part of why one round took us an hour. But the reality is, I think for a lot of people, board games, you buy them knowing they're kind of a self-contained unit that you can pull off the shelf and play whenever the moment is right. It's the same way I would feel about like a book or a vinyl album. It's like, the right people are over. I want to play these songs. Let's listen to this music. But I think something like Ashes, any of the expandable games, part of it is, the engagement in the game is way more than just playing the game, in general on the table. Because inherently there's a handful of things going on, which is like, there's this greater online community. There's, as long as it's being actively supported and there's new content coming out, there's a group of people online and in general at conventions and stuff that are talking about it, that are interested in it, and you can kind of keep taking part in that community. And so a lot of times when it goes out of print, people might still own it, they might still want to play it, but it's a lot harder to find people who are playing it, and also it's a lot harder to find people that are talking about it. But we've recently been doing a deep dive into the Star Wars CCD from 1995, and like, because I have Steven there, and I have basically, it's he has no choice but to play against me. No, I'm just kidding. We're both enjoying it, but I know I have someone to play against, and what's been really amazing to me about that, which is a little different than Ashes, because Ashes we actually were able to bring back, obviously, but is that that game has so much depth to it and so much content. Even if I kept pursuing it for the next 20 years, I would never reach the bottom of that well. And amazingly, I think technology, right? Whether you can play online, whether you can play like this over Zoom, there's Facebook groups and Discords and all this kind of stuff, makes it where if there are enough people actually genuinely interested about continuing to engage in and talk about this thing, that community can actually weirdly still exist. And I think the pandemic is helping this along a little bit, in that like, people are investing in the technology, but more importantly, just the reality that like, I'm stuck at home and I have this collection in a box in my basement. And so like, it's this thing I can go back to, and it's like, oh, and I can still collect it. That beta that I always wanted, that I couldn't afford when I was 13, I can actually buy that now. Like, and I can have it. And so it's kind of interesting. The games that, there's some games that I wouldn't do this with that I've played, but like, if I like a game enough now, I'm kind of interested. What I've been doing is going back, recollecting some of the stuff that I always wanted, or maybe that I traded away or that I'm missing, and building enough stuff that, like if you were in Tulsa again and you were like, hey, I know, you've been streaming that Middle Earth CCG a lot. I could be like, oh yeah, I have like 8 decks. Pick your favorite character and let's play. So it
enough
is,
to like sort of sustain an afternoon of playing or a week of playing or whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah, for sure. Okay, sorry, I got lost in that.
No, I think what you said was really interesting about, you're right. What happens with some of these games is when the community starts to diminish, there's an energy vacuum. Like, again, like with Mansions of Madness, I'm not talking to people regularly about that game. So if everyone else on the planet stopped playing, I wouldn't notice.
Sure.
But with Ashes, there's a certain energy. These kind of games have a certain energy around that conversation. And when it diminishes or starts to go away, you feel that loss, I think, in a more direct way. And that is part of the fun of playing. I think you're absolutely right to point that out. So I got to draw back up too, don't I?
Yep. And you technically
can chuck.
You get to chuck after you see what you rolled.
Yeah. I'm not going to chuck anything. Intent.
All right. Well, this is a certain kind of hand.
A certain kind of hand. Okay. Oh, it's me first. Me first. That's exciting.
It sure is.
Okay.
You got that big old Dread Wraith now.
I do have a big old Dread Wraith with 3 wounds on it. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Turn 2 is usually the thickest turn in Ashes for me, because we both obviously set up. We have things going on the table, and we have fresh new resources and a full hand.
Yeah.
And nothing to really set up, but you also have to like look at your hand and actually start kind of asking what lines of play are even available to you based on what you drew back up.
Yeah, there's fewer variables here for sure now.
Yeah.
Like there's an established thing in front of you on the table. Now you've got this hand of opportunity.
Yeah. I like that term, hand of opportunity.
Yeah.
But that, that's where like this is the pieces are in play now. How are we going to navigate it? One of the nice things about the first 5 in Ashes is you get used to that first hand, and so like a lot of times you don't really have to use a ton of brain power until you're hitting that second turn once you're more familiar with what's going on.
Right. And people watch, you and Steve play this already, but like an average game I found, like when I was playing with my daughter, they were 40 minutes, generally speaking. Sure. So if maybe someone's over here watching for the first time, even like a game of Ashes usually does hum along pretty quickly, even with some general banter. But it's been fun just to chat. I threw in Crimson Bomber in here, so that cost me 2 class die. It's a 3/2, so it's not like it's got a little heft to it, but it's got an interesting side action effect. So I could use this right now if I want. It's called Detonate 3. Destroy this unit to place 1 wound token on up to 3 target units. What's interesting about that is I could put a wound on my Dread Wraith to make my Dread Wraith even stronger. You
definitely could do that.
Right? Like I could just ping, I could blow it up right now and go Silver Snake 1, Gilder 1, Dread Wraith 1. I don't think I want to do that, but it's interesting. Now here's the thing. Let's try. No, I think I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do a side action against my better judgment, I think. Oh no, I'm sorry. I have a. No, I don't. I'm done. Sorry, I'm done. Over to you.
Okay. So you played the Crimson Bomber and then passed.
I played the Crimson Bomber and I passed. Yep, that's it.
Okay. Well, they say there's no time like the present.
Oh no.
So here's what I will do. I'm going to use an action, or I'm going to use a side action and exhaust Maoni.
And right. What's this do again?
Kind of dice. So it's going to cost me 2 basics. And then I choose an unexhausted unit I control. They'll damage their target.
Oh, right.
To the chosen unit's attack value.
Yes, brilliant. Of course.
So my snake is going to gobble up your Dread Wraith.
Interesting.
Because I'm going to use its 3 against the Dread Wraith to do 3 immediately.
Yeah, that will kill it.
Yeah, which should charge up your that spell, right? I believe it.
That will charge up Chant of Worship after an ally you control is destroyed. Place a status token. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, so Dread Wraith's gone.
Pay for that. So let me look at what I'll be doing this turn. I'm going to use 2 of my nature basics on her ability, and then I still actually have a main action, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, that Crimson Bomber. How much health does the old bomber have?
2.
The Crimson 2. Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting. It's interesting. That was a good play. I let that one slip me by. I potentially could have had a response to that too if I'd been a little more on the ball.
Like by meditating your dice.
Well, you might see it yet, so I don't want to. Okay. I don't want to give it away.
Good. You're good. I don't want to spoil the fun.
Especially now that you've just gotten rid of my Dread Wraith.
Yeah. I'm gonna play as my main action.
Okay.
I will play Call Upon the Realms. So it's an action. It doesn't cost me anything else. Change 3 dice my active pool to sides of my choice. So I'm going to go ahead and create a snake.
Right.
A snake and a frog out of a leaf. And I'm excited to get to the point in Ashes where when my opponent does that meditation move, I'm pretty sure the cards they have in their hand.
Yeah. You mean like just from knowing your opponent, knowing kind of the typical card pools and stuff like that, you mean?
Yeah, so like one thing that I think is really handy as like a player trick is any of the reaction spells. So anything that your opponent can do in response to something happening requires a power resource. So as an example, if I flip to a frog, I might just be doing that because I want to use that side action to do damage to something.
Yeah.
But also it's like there's only so many reactions you can play with a frog. Same with the snake.
Yes. Right.
And so once you kind of understand what those cards are, you can know basically like, here's what
might be
opponent could do. Yeah.
Yes. What are they building towards? Yeah. All right. I will. This is like. This is. Oh, that's going the wrong direction. Am I doing the right thing here? No. When am I ever? So I'm going to play Regress, which I should have done sooner, but I'm going to put Regress on your Silver Snake right now, which gives an attack -3.
Oh, wow.
So basically, I could have prevented like any of that from happening to me, I believe, right? Because that would have brought your attack to 0, and then, Mayone's effect would have been immaterial.
That is correct. I'm going to grab something just so I can signify.
Yeah, and then that only lasts for the round. So at the end of this round, that will disappear. So I'm really just preventing, like, again, it would have been much more effective to put it on at the beginning, but I'm just preventing you from being able to attack, or if I attack, you're not going to be able to hit back, basically, with anything on your Silver Snake.
Yeah. And so technically it is at 4 right now. So -3 puts it over.
Oh, sorry. I don't have I forgot to put a status token on there. I should have. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have 4 status tokens, right?
Yeah. So I put a die on mine just to signify that it's -3.
Right. Perfect. So that is my main action. That was a main action, right? No, that's a side action. Sorry. Even better. It's a side. I think the main.
Rodney, still there? Okay, great.
I'm here. No, I'm sorry. I'm like, I just don't know what to do. I'm trying to figure out how to solve this snake. I got a snake infestation problem.
Yeah, you got a snake and a mouse problem.
I got a snake and a mouse problem. Someone call the exterminator, quick.
You literally just kind of like stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
And there was no audio. So I was just like, wait, what's happening?
Watch it play. It do not charge your chant, only ally. I'm not sure.
How does your chant of worship read?
Well, the chant says after an ally you control is destroyed.
Okay, so I technically destroyed a conjuration. So there's.
Oh, you did.
Unit is an ally.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, I was right about that, but I was wrong about it charging your chant because I'm the one that told you to do that.
No. But that's a nice thing. Careful read of this. That was the other thing, like going back through the game again, they were able to sort of tighten up some of the wording and things. Not that this was ever necessarily in question on this particular card, but I noticed it seemed like they just made things a little more concise, a little more clear across the board, which is good.
That was one of my common jokes when we were looking at new cards. Is like also how many cards went from like a big block of text to like one sentence and basically did the same thing.
I'm going to summon a Dread Wraith. Oh, God. I feel like I like making choices where they're not being made in desperation, and that feels like I'm feeling desperate. So I'm going to put a Dread Wraith out there. now. Over to you.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and take my main action is going to be a summon Gilder. And when the Gilder comes in, I get to do a damage. So I'll do a damage to your Crimson Bomber.
Okay.
And then as my side action, I'm going to go ahead and spend a frog to do a damage to the Crimson Bomber.
Oh, I see.
And then when that goes away, I'm going to put a status token on my Snaky Snake.
Right. And then I'm going to put a status token on my Chant of Worship, since that was an ally.
There you go. Torres saying so many angels got their wings with the new cards. Yeah, every time basically we'd have the old version next to the new version, and when it
right,
like half of it gone, it'd be like the angels getting their wings. What up, Tim? I'm excited to play.
And some of the text, some of the cards still have a good block of text. I remember looking at one of them though, and I read through the text, and I was like, you know what? This is a block of text, but the extra text is just clarification.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like this thing does 17 different things. This thing does one thing, but the extra text in here is clarifying the parameters of how that works. You know what I mean? I didn't go with this. Oh, this is super complicated. No, this is straightforward. It's being clear about what's damaged, what isn't damaged, etc.
Yeah. Some of those old CCGs that we've been playing on stream, I'll get to the end of a card and then I will have forgotten what the first part of the card did. So I have to start back over.
Tim Bunn saying, I'm ready to play this game again. That's right, Tim. I feel you. All right, I'm playing this game. I can't wait to play again already. Like I want to play again after this, and I know we can't, but I'm going to want to.
That's such a good sign. When you find a game that you play, and the natural response, no matter how long you've been playing, is like one more. One more. That's an incredible place to be.
God, I hate everything. What am I going to do? I'm going to use that Chant of Worship right now. I need to draw. I need something. I need to see a gift. A gift from the gods. What am I going to get? All right. So that was a main, and that status token comes off.
This is true. Oxfordor saying, don't forget about your dice power effect where you can bring allies back from your discard pile.
Absolutely. It is definitely on my mind. What's unfortunate to me is the dice I have remaining aren't exactly what I want. But there's a way to solve that. Again, that's the beautiful thing. If I want to meditate and throw cards away, I can do that. And maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to meditate twice.
Okay. It's pretty amazing how little randomness there actually is in this game once you know what's going on.
And that's me done. Main and side.
All right. So you got card and you meditated as your side action, right?
So I'm holding 4.
Mm-hmm.
And when I meditated, I lost a choke and a Crimson Bomber.
I'm glad you didn't have. I was nervous you had choke this round.
Yeah.
Because you could just exhaust my Oni before I could use her ability to get rid of your Wraith. But luckily you didn't. At least handy. If you did have one, you didn't play it. Either way, it was fortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and use my Empower. So it's an action, exhaust, spend a leaf or a music note. So I'll spend a leaf, and we'll put another status token on the snake.
Sure. So snake, I got 6. Is that right? 6 on there?
There are 6 on there, but it's currently -3.
And it's not exhausted yet. That's the other thing to keep in mind.
It's not
ready to go.
Indeed. Correct. And then as my side action, I am going to go ahead and meditate 1 off the top of my deck.
Okay.
And we're going to change this leaf into a frog just in case I need it. Don't worry about it.
Oh my gosh, what do I do? All right.
That's the question I'm hoping you're asking.
Yeah, that's the question I am asking. You know what? Okay. I cannot make this happen. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to spend a side action. Side action, basic die to bring out Safeguard, action spell. Choose a target unit or Phoenixborn you control until the start of your next. Oh, no, this is. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread this card. Do you mind if I back that up a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I thought it was the end of the round. It's end of turn until the start of my next turn. Gosh, do I want to do that? I might still want to do it.
I'm waiting with anticipation. I don't quite know what the card does.
It's, oh man, this is so great. This game. Okay. I'm going to do something I'm probably going to regret later. I'm just going to do a Fire Archer. I'm going to spend a power die to bring it out. I'll bring out a different Fire Archer and I'll replace it. The promo.
Oh, I love that one.
I love that one too. And so when this one comes out, right, it does 1 damage to a target Phoenixborn. So I hit yours.
You don't want to damage yourself?
No, I do not. And I am doing nothing else. Okay.
All right, mine?
Yeah.
Let's think about this. Oh boy.
Ryan Roper says it feels like Zach's game plan is hooking a balloon to a pump and vigorously pumping it up while his opponent tries to pop it. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on. Well said, Ryan.
That's hilarious. You have
and the person trying to pop it is in a complete flop sweat the whole time.
Just pop already. It's really interesting, don't you think?
Yeah. What did you do? I think you started to do something. I was reading Ryan's comment there.
I don't think I've done anything.
Okay. I'm just worried you've done something.
All right.
I'm in a panic. Just pass. Don't do anything. You're fine.
Well, it's important to remember too. You've done 6 damage and I haven't done any. So
I know it's true. I just feel like the problem with your whole strategy is you don't need to do a lot of little damage. You're going to swing through like a wrecking ball, and I'm going to be at 50% health in a second.
Yeah. Well,
thank goodness for that regress.
Is definitely the goal. Okay, here's what I'm going to do.
What you going to do?
I am going to think about my life.
Yeah. The choices you've made.
The tough part of playing the snakes is that like one wrong mistake and you just come
all that hard
straight
work
down.
Yeah, all that hard work could be undone.
Okay.
Thanks, Nico. Nico saying the stream's looking very slick.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to try this again when I'm actually in the studio, because man, if you could see a picture of how I have this arranged on my side, it's hilarious. Because it was kind of a last minute stuck at home, can we stream?
Yeah, right.
So I am excited to try it in our actual studio. I think that'll be a good time. So let's do this. I am going to, how much damage does your Fire Archer do? 1?
Yeah. So it's 1 attack, 1 life.
I'm going to use my side action on Hypnotize. So I exhaust it and I spend 2 hearts. And I choose the target unit I control to gain the following ability for the remainder of my turn. Bypass this unit cannot be blocked or guarded against.
Yeah.
And then my Silver Snake will swing at your Phoenixborn. Has 6 status tokens, but has a -3, so it's only at 3 attack.
Right. Brilliant, though. I can't block it because of Hypnotize. So that's brilliant. So I'm going to take 3 damage.
Okay. So I will exhaust.
Yeah. Chipping away.
I do not have a side action, so go ahead.
Okay. All right. I will. I will have my fire archer attack Mayoni. Is that what I want to do, or should I be swinging at your silver snake? Actually,
So the thing about swinging at Silver Snake is if you aren't going to take it off the table, it's going to heal all the damage.
Gonna recover. I know. It's I got to come up with the other 3 damage this round.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right. With that in mind, I will just swing it at Mayoni.
Okay. I will block with one of my Gilders.
Sure.
So I changed the target of the attack, so I have to exhaust, but I don't have any damage. You do though, so you will do 1 to my Gilder.
Yeah.
And the Gilder doesn't have recover in 1.5 Ashes Reborn. So that damage will actually stick, which is good.
Okay. So that was my main. And I won't do anything for a side, so it's over to you.
Okay.
How many cards do you have in hand, Zach? If you don't mind me asking.
4 cards.
Whew. I got 3.
But I've only got 4 dice left. So there's only so much I can do in a single turn, obviously. I will actually play another copy of Summon Silver Snake. So we're going to get the double focus on that. So for the rest of the game, if I summon a Silver Snake, I will get 2 status tokens immediately upon summoning. Oh man, the face palm is where you definitely want to have your opponent if it's possible.
Oh, I love Mayoni.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, it's great. Okay, so you've done that. Anything else?
Then as my side action, I won't do anything. So go ahead.
Okay. So everything's exhausted for me except for my Spirit Burn still sitting there. I could destroy you, deal 2 damage to Phoenixborn, try to, get things going there. That's always good. Bahahat. I think it's dead. I'm going to spend a power die to play Blood Chains. So Blood Chains is an effect that says destroy a unit you control to place 1 exhaustion token on a target unit. If the destroyed unit has 1 or more wound tokens on it, place 2 exhaustion tokens instead. I'd love to be able to do that. If I can't beat your snake, if I can just put it to sleep for a while, that would be okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to kill the Fire Archer to put 1 exhaustion token on Silver Snake. So Silver Snake should now have 2 on there.
2 exhaustion tokens on the snake.
Yeah. Now the thing is, I think I just bumped up your Silver Snake though in the process.
Oh, because it left play?
Yeah, because after a unit an opponent controls is destroyed, place 1 status token on this unit.
Don't mind if I do.
Yeah.
Okay. To me?
Yeah, to you.
You're going to love this next trick. That's sarcasm, in case that wasn't
okay.
I'm going to play an action spell called Refresh.
I hate this one. Yes.
And a basic. Remove all exhaustion tokens from a target unit.
Yeah, great. Super. Silver Snake, maybe? Or that Gilder?
I think I'm going to go Silver Snake.
Wow. So what I did is I made it stronger for when it swings through again, potentially.
Yep, you sure did.
Super. Okay. All right. It's all right. It's all right. We still got other options. I don't know what they are, but we will find them and they will be super. So I kind of want to keep my Dread Wraith in the game because I need a little bit of a blocker here. I'm going to pass.
Okay, now I have to think about my life. So if I swing and you block with the Dread Wraith, you're going to
This
get
Coda
4
7/7.
damage.
That was such a good move by Zach. Yes, it was.
It really just, the fact that you also spent resources to exhaust it obviously worked out in my favor with that particular card in my hand. Yep. So basically my choice now is I can either pass and have 2 dice on my highest sides, assuming you don't do anything. You already passed, right?
I passed, yeah.
Yeah. Or I can swing. And you're currently at 1 damage, right? With the Dread Wraith.
Do I have any? I don't have any damage on it. Did I forget to put one on?
No, you're good. I mean, you would deal 1 damage. He starts.
Oh, sorry, I apologize. Yes, I would do 1 damage to you. Yeah.
I think I used the wrong vernacular there.
Yeah.
And I would deal 4 back, making you a 5 going into the next round, which is kind of scary.
Yeah. But I mean, then you just have to ping for 1.
Yeah. I will actually just pass.
Okay.
So we'll go to the end of the round.
Yeah.
All units recover. We removing exhaustion from everything. I'm going to choose to leave both of my dice that were left in the pool, and I'll reroll these. And we'll situate these.
I've got 1 power die that's sticking around. Oh,
I always love going into a turn with a lot of power dice.
Oh, this was a good roll. I grimaced at first because I saw a lot of class and not a lot of power, but it was a lot of class and just 2 basics. So I'm happy with that roll. That will give me some much needed help.
Yeah, that's a solid roll, especially with the Dread Wraith needing 3 of those ceremonial knife dice. The class.
Yeah,
that's solid. Okay, and then I'll keep my 2 cards and I'll draw back up.
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm going to keep my 2 and drop as well.
All right, let the games begin.
It's over to you.
I'm going to go ahead and kick this party off with a side action. We'll spend 2 basics to use my Hypnotize, giving the snake inblockability this turn. And he no longer has that -3, right?
Oh, that's right. Good point. Yeah, that's gone. Regress.
Let me see. I need leaf.
Oh boy. So it's unblockable.
Yep. So you have a 7 damage snake coming at you, unblockable.
Well, I guess we know what happens, don't we? I take 7 damage. That's the end of that story. So if I have this right, 7 + 3 is 10. So I'm putting 10 damage on Brennan.
Yep.
8 more, and I'm done. So you just need to be able to put swing through 1 more time. I really don't have a choice. I have to finish off the snake. I have to kill it.
I concur with your conclusion.
Yeah, because trying to delay it to exhaustion isn't going to work knowing you can clear it. If you get another refresh, you can clear again. Hypnotize, swing through unblocked. Hooey. So what can I do? What can I do to make that happen?
Now, to be fair, even if I was able to unexhaust my snake, I only get past you for free if I have Hypnotize, and I only have 1 copy of that out right now. So
yeah,
it would take.
Yeah, I guess what I'm saying is I think the problem is if you don't get me this round, if I don't deal with the snake, I think next round it could be really difficult to stop at least 1 more hit through, and I suspect your snake will be bigger by then.
Yeah.
So I think this round I've got to try to. You mind if I do a quick deck build? I'll just add Molten Gold to this. Actually, it's great. Sembala, another deck I was thinking of potentially playing with, has a wonderful response to this problem. Purify. You familiar with that one?
No. What's it do?
So Purify is an action. Choose a target ally you control and place it into your hand. Okay, so I could just take this not Dread Wraith, but say a Fire Archer or whatever, and put it in my hand. So I'm losing it from the board. If you do, destroy a target conjuration an opponent controls.
Is that her signature card?
That is not her signature card. And oh no, sorry, it is. I'm sorry, it is her signature card.
I was gonna say that's really good.
It's really good, right? So Symbala has got a great way of dealing with a single conjuration problem, like I'm dealing with here now.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of answers out there to the silver snake. Kind of
none of them are in my hand right now, but there are a lot out there. There are a lot. I think what I need to do, aside from panic, is get. Oh gosh, it's okay. What, Rodney? You gotta just. I think I might have to go fishing into my discard pile here.
Yeah, for an ally.
I think so. I'm going to. All right. Mayoni. Is Mayoni exhausted right now? No. She's not. I've got to think about that for a second, actually. What was my way of dealing with that before? I had a card that could do something with that. Yeah. Because you can now.
I was going to say, Van was asking why it was unblockable. It's because I used Hypnotize to make it where it has bypass, so it can't be blocked or guarded.
So basically, at any point in time you want with Command Strike, you can pick a unit and just do 7 damage to it right now.
Not yes, but no, because it has to be an unexhausted
unit. Okay, that's good to know. That's right. So that is you'd have to find a way to unexhaust it. Right. Okay. That gives me a little, I don't know.
Hope.
A little hope. Yeah, a little hope. Let's call it that.
Yeah, but
I'm going to. Yeah.
The command strike is a side action. So if I did have like a refresh or something like that in my hand, I could unexhaust the snake, side action, do the ability.
Okay, I'm going to use the ceremonial magic as a side action. Search your discard pile for an ally and place it into your hand. Deal 1 damage to your Phoenixborn. So I'm taking a damage. I am getting a Crimson Bomber. Putting it into my hand.
Seems like a good play.
That was a side. I think as the main, I'm just gonna bring it out.
Yep.
Crimson Bomber in play.
Okay. So do you have a side action? You already did your side action.
Yeah, side action was that ceremonial die to get it out from my deck. So
okay. Well, let's just apply some pressure. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, yeah, I do. I do know what you mean.
I'm gonna play the card you mentioned, which is Molten Gold. It costs two frogs. It says place 3 wound tokens on a target unit or Phoenixborn. And I will actually just do 3 damage to your Phoenixborn to click you up to 14 damage. And how much health does Brennan have?
18.
All right.
So I'm 4 away.
We're creeping in.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, all I've got now, I think, is to go for bragging rights. How much damage can I do before I'm killed? Let me see.
I've definitely lost games of Ashes being at this point for me. Not saying it's necessarily going to happen here, but I'm just saying that until a game is over in Ashes, I do not count.
Yeah, you never know, right? You never know. So I think I'm going to blow up my Crimson Bomber. Hold on, I got to think with this. I could attack with it first. And that probably makes a little more sense, frankly.
Is the Crimson Bomber's text unexhaustible?
That's the problem, isn't it? Yeah, no, it's not. It is. Once I attack with it, I won't be able to blow it up to use its effect. And actually, that is of more importance to me. So I'm gonna blow it up with a side action.
Okay.
So it's gonna do 1 damage to 3 different targets. So when your Gilder is going to die, which is going to make your snake stronger, which is cool.
That's right.
It's also going to mean the Gilder can come out again.
That's right.
Which is less cool. And then the other Gilder is going to get a damage, and the snake is going to get a damage. Oh no,
Now,
sorry.
I don't know if this matters to you.
Sorry. I'm actually gonna put the damage on the Dread Wraith, I think.
Okay, I was gonna say you could put a damage on the Dread Wraith instead if you would like.
Yeah, that's what I'm. That's sorry. That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's gonna be Dread Wraith, Gilder.
Okay.
I think. Do I want to put that damage on that Gilder, or do I want to put the damage on that snake? It's gonna depend on what I can. If I could kill the snake this turn, then heck yeah, I should put that damage on the snake.
Yeah,
but no,
that's true.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to. I just don't. I don't think I have it in me, man. I love animals too much. All right, over to you.
You can't do it.
Oh, sorry. That was a side action to blow up the bomber.
Yep.
So I think I still have a main. I don't think I did a main yet.
I don't think so because I played the molten gold and you.
Intriguing. Okay, well then. I think my main is going to be. Oh, and I should have put a status token on Chant of Worship, I suppose, there too.
Yep.
Yeah, the ally control was destroyed, and I will use that to draw.
Draw into your outs.
Yeah, let's. All right. Oh, now I feel like a dummy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Continue. Oh.
All right. Let me think.
Yeah. Oxerator. That would be an option now. It wasn't an option before, but forgot that was in my deck. That's a good one. That would definitely fix some problems. The chat had a good plan there, but I now have a. Oh my gosh! I had a path out.
I'm interested. I'm excited to hear whatever that ends up being.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do a couple things that are, maybe a little cheeky. I'm gonna play as my main action transfer. Cost me a heart and a basic, so I'll spend 2. Move a token from a target player's non-Phoenix Born card onto another non-Phoenix Born card that player controls. So I'm gonna move this exhaustion on the snake to one of my summoned silver snakes.
Okay, sure.
And then I'll take a side action.
Oh, that's very cheeky.
Yeah, I'm gonna exhaust Mayoni and spend 2 to have my snake deal 8 damage to your Dread Wraith.
All right, so that kills it.
Yep, and I'll go ahead and gain a token on the snake.
For sure. Oh. Unbelievable.
Jackie's saying, I don't know what's going on, but I pop in and Rodney just has, in quotes, that expression. This one right here.
Jackie's, I've played a game with Jackie before. She's seen this expression, I think. Okay. I need a way to do something I don't think I can do. Okay. No, that's not true. No, it is true. Fine. I'm just gonna look at my discard pile for a moment.
Yep. When a player is either asking to see someone's discard pile or looking through their own discard pile, you're at a very certain state of the game.
So you could swing an attack now. That's an option you have. Silver Snake is unexhausted. Wowzers. Okay, so I am going to. I got to bring something out to defend. Now, is Hypnotize exhausted right now?
It is exhausted. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Even if I
you can't swing.
Yeah.
All right, I gotta get something out now. So I'm gonna do that with the. I gotta bring the Dread Wraith out.
Yeah.
Which is gonna cost me 3 knives. And Dread Wraith is in. That's my main.
Okay.
and the chat has lots of great strategy suggestions for me. They're excellent, by the way. The problem I'm running up against, one of the problems I'm running up against is I did not have the cards in hand to do the thing that would have been the best. And to be frank, then I got it. And if I'd been thinking ahead, I could have planned for that potentiality. It's sort of like the only thing that could save me. There's like one thing in my deck right now that could save me. And I should have bet the farm on that, and I didn't.
Sure.
There's still a potential. There still would have been a potential to do that. But now I have a timing problem because of the silver snake, because you can just swing and kill me. So I need to now I need to go into block mode. I need to stop you from killing me. So maybe I'll have a chance later to do the thing that would save me. It's so good. So good.
Rodney, have you played very much chess in general, or have you played it a decent amount to be familiar with kind of the strategic level of chess?
I played it more when I was younger. I haven't played a lot recently. Funny thing, I just got a chess set in the mail today, coincidentally. I played a fair bit of Go as well, and got into, I wouldn't say a high level play Go. I mean, that's games, it takes like chess, I suppose, master forever, right? But I played Go more than I played chess, to the point of just that delicious tension back and forth with someone else who's like of equal skill level with you and knows sort of what you know. And so it's a dance the whole time. And that's a really great thing. But what was your point? You were going to say something about that with chess.
No, I feel like a lot of times Ashes reminds me of ultimately a way better version of chess, at least for me, in that a lot of times I'll have the moves available to me that would be really bad for you.
Yeah.
But because of the tempo and the timing and the placement of stuff, I'm never quite able to do it, because it's you'll be putting my king in check, so I can't ever move the two pieces I need to move to put you in check, if that makes sense.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And so it just feels like it's like you build, you position, and then all of a sudden it all kind of starts spinning out once people finally decide to make the trades and take the moves, and we see who saw further ahead, basically.
Right. Well, I've got a side action I could take, and I'm chicken. I don't think I'm going to take it. But give me one more second, because if there's nothing else better to spend the dice on,
sure,
that I have,
and
I have 4, then it makes sense sort of to do this now, I think.
What up, Jackie, in the chat saying hi. Nice to meet you as well. Mr. Lee saying, as a chess player, it's a very interesting comparison. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it shares a lot in terms of the kind of mental things it puts you through that chess does. There's a little more going on, and there's unknown factors in your opponent's hand, but it reminds me a lot of chess.
I've brought out a second Chant of Worship. It's a side action to do it. So it costs me, I spent a power die to bring it out. And so now basically if one of my allies gets destroyed, now the Conjuration isn't an ally, but I have two ways to drop token on it.
Yeah, I'm with you.
All right, I'm done.
Okay. I will pass.
Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Passing with that snake there.
So basically, I could attack, but obviously you block with the Dread Wraith. And then the only thing that can happen to me is things can go wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You're sort of in this perfect position. So anything you do could probably only lessen it.
Yeah.
Because
especially with Hypnotize and Maeoni's side action, it basically forces you either deal with it now, or on your next turn, you have to stop that immediately. Otherwise, I can just hypnotize past you and deal lethal damage.
Well, okay. I think then for my turn, I will spend a basic and bring it a Black Cloud Ninja, which we started the game with long ago. That's my main. I could side, destroy a unit, and just do 2 damage to you just to make myself feel better. It would cost me my power die though, which I don't know that I'm willing to give up just yet. So I'm gonna, oh, I'm not gonna do a side action. So over to you. If you'd like to do something, you can.
I will pass.
So I could pass and end this.
In this round, yeah.
I could pass and end this. I'm going to attack with Black Cloud Ninja. I'm going to target. I'm going to target your Silver Snake.
Interesting. Okay, so I will guard with Maoni.
Okay.
So I'm gonna turn her sideways to represent, because Phoenix Born can only guard once a round in Reborn. So I'll guard, and then you get a chance to do anything you want to do, but then I'll take a damage, assuming nothing else happens.
Yeah, and also I should mention that when this unit is declared an attacker, you have to put an exhaustion token on one of your ready spells. So
I'll put it on one of my Silver Snake spells.
Sure.
Then I'll take a damage.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
So you're at 6 damage.
That's
you're
right.
Now, aren't you?
I mean,
okay. No, I got no more side actions. Over to you.
Okay. I will, of course, pass.
Ryan's like, just pass already so I can get first action to kill you. I will have first action, though, if I recall. Yeah?
You do have first action. Yep.
Yeah. So you passed?
Yep. Hanging out.
Just hanging in there. Oh, I think. Okay, so now think about this, Rodney.
Take your time.
I'm going to. So you've still got the Gilder. The Gilder's not exhausted, right?
Not exhausted, and it has unit guard, so it can block from my snake if I need it.
Yeah.
I like watching your brain try to figure out how to play the cards in your hand, because you're on to something to answer my snake, but you just can't.
You know what, Zach? I just realized I had another way of dealing with your snake that I wasn't smart enough to see until this moment.
Oh wow!
You know what I mean? Like, it's what I love about that. Like, it's not frustrating to me in the slightest. I'm looking at it going like, it's that freshness of getting back into a game, like getting back onto the bike. Yes, I remember how to ride the bike, but I want to like be able to go off a little ramp or jump off a curb or something, you know, and I'm not quite ready to do that, or go hands-free for a bit or whatever. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's interesting. I could have done this to do that, to then do this, and that's how I could have dealt with a snake, you know?
Yeah.
And like the chat, for example,
the
chat had a great, like, here's a simple way of dealing with the snake. And when I botched that, I looked at my hand and went, there's nothing else I can really do. Now I got to play a defensive strategy, right? And we can talk this through afterwards, but it's like, oh, if I'd done this, this would be another way, a little roundabout way, but it would have gotten me to the same result effectively. Okay, enough whinging about the past. Let's see what I can do now in this present with 2 dice left.
Oxfordor asking, I have 3 cards in hand right now.
And how many dice? 2, right?
Both on the power symbol.
So you could kill my Black Cloud Ninja right now if you wanted to.
I definitely could.
Yeah. Yeah, fascinating. Do that. Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. Oh no, I
big
won't
money
have
time.
It was big money time. I think I'm.
Just watching you get to play has actually been pretty phenomenal for me. A lot of emotions going into this.
It's a roller coaster. I really want to try to get. I want to find a way to survive the first of your turns in the next round. I want to give you that challenge. And I don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off. And boy, I wish I could.
I mean, honestly, the interesting thing about that is like, it would be more than a challenge once you topple down the snake. 9 is a gigantic number to have a snake at. It's going to take me a minute to recover enough to do enough damage to finish the game. I do have like those molten golds.
So the molten golds, exactly. To be able to drop 3 is pretty great. You might hear my phone ring in the background. I'm going to pass and put everyone out of their misery, including you.
Yeah,
so
okay.
Sorry, I guess no one in my house is picking up the phone. So someone in the chat saying, Rodney, he can't block with a Phoenixborn twice, which is absolutely true, but the Gilder's still here, and the Gilder can still block. And that's my problem, frankly. If the Gilder was
on the Gilder, man.
The Gilder, that little Gilder. Yeah. Okay, so as we both passed, it's time to do some refreshing, right?
Okay, yeah. So we're both passing. I'm gonna go ahead and ready this, take away these exhaustions, re-roll. You become the first player.
Oh, I want to play again, like right away. I got to throw some. Let's see, am I throwing any cards up? That's the question. I probably am. Let's see.
For people watching, earlier when you said that, they said, "Don't let us stop you from playing again." Rodney is on a schedule. He's got some other videos to go be doing. So this will be the only game.
Unfortunately, because I would love to. Okay, so I threw one card, drew up, and I'm going to do some reroll myself. I get first turn, and here's the painful thing for you is I got to look at my hand again and go, is there a miracle in here somewhere? And it might take me a second to see if there is one.
Yeah, there's no pain. I think turns, at this point we're at the chunkiest part of the game.
Because the reality is
when the life's on the line.
I think at this point, if I can't find the miracle, it's over. So it's going to be relatively straightforward after
because I can hypnotize and get right in there, unless you have a way to stop that from happening. Then it gets a little more challenging for me.
Okay. So what I need is to have 2 side actions. I can't do that. Yeah, because you hypnotize and you swing and it's over. Wow.
It's one heck of a snake.
It's one heck of a snake. Here, I'll just do this to, if I do that, then it's my main.
Ryan Roper asking, can you pop hypnotize again? So hypnotize will come up on the screen. It's a side action exhaust, two heart, 2 charm. A unit you control to gain the following ability for the remainder of the turn. Bypass, the unit cannot be blocked or guarded.
Here, let's do this. I'm going to, all right, I know what to do for my turn. 100%. So I'm going to spend class die, destroy a unit I control to deal 2 damage to target Phoenixborn. So the black cloud's going away. So you take 2 damage.
All right.
And I'll exhaust my Phoenixborn. And then I am going to, that was my side, my main action is going to be to play choke and place an exhaust choke on a target Phoenixborn that's yours and do a damage to it. So that's 1 more damage on Maoni. Basically, I'm just going to try to close the gap a little bit because I don't think I can pull it off. So I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 damage on Maoni. Is that right?
I'm counting 10.
Oh, 10. Okay, well, I'll take it.
Yeah, because you just did 3. Because it was 2 and 1. If you missed 1 there, but I have 10.
Yeah, sure. I might have missed 1 somewhere there. But either way, it's over to you.
Okay. Well, I'll do the respectable thing here. I'm going to exhaust, hypnotize, spending 2 charm, making the snake unblockable.
And kaboom!
I'll swing for 9 into Brennan and end the game. I'll give you a digital handshake.
Yes, absolutely. Good game. Here, I'm going back to my headshot. I'll go back to my headshot so we can do a proper.
Let me get there as well.
Yeah.
And we're back to just
there we go.
The headshot.
Good game.
There it is.
Good game.
Digital handshake. Yeah, that was great. I agree with you. I think the thing I want to do after I play a game of Ashes is play another. And that's a really good sign. It's kind of cool playing. We've been doing constructed for several weeks now, but going back to just basics Mayoni, that's easily the biggest silver snake I've ever had. So that's awesome.
Remember what I said, like, you always wait too long to deal with it, or at least I do. So let me tell you, because I'm sure the chat would like the validation of what they were thinking as a potential strategy. So I had that Crimson Bomber on the table, right? And remember when I was assigning the damage, I did not put one on your Silver Snake.
Yeah.
The reason I didn't put one on your Silver Snake is because I knew it was going to recover at the end of the round, and it was going to do nothing. Maybe on the Gilder, it'll do something. At least on my Dread Wraith, it pumps it up a little bit, etc. Right? Here's the catch. I then did the Chant of Worship later in the round, which let me draw a card. And then I got the thing people were probably assuming I had in my hand all along, or surely was going to come eventually, Fester. So Fester is a beautiful one. Destroy a target unit with one or more wound tokens on it.
Nice.
Your snake would have been just done. Like, yeah, I just didn't have that. I needed that one wound on there. I drew it. I could have then immediately killed it. And I just didn't have it. Now I had to go like, okay, is there a way for me to get a wound on it so I can use this now? And I was doing the mental math of, okay, get the Crimson back. Fish for it using the ceremonial die. Then I got to pay for the Crimson and get it on there and blow it up. And the problem there was, I think, it's hard to backtrack a little bit. I don't think I had enough dice to get it back and play it and blow it up. But here's the thing. Remember I was talking, it's like, oh, there's another way I could have done it.
Yeah, that's what I'm most interested in hearing about.
So I had blood chains. So the problem was your Gilder. If I need to get one damage on there, right? The problem was you were going to you blocked with Mayoni. So I couldn't get one damage. Well, I had another unit I could attack with. But then you would have blocked with Gilder.
Yep.
So still no damage would have gone on the Silver Snake, or you potentially would have blocked with a Gilder. So if I had used blood chains, destroy a unit you control to place one exhaustion token on a target unit. So I could have exhausted the Gilder. Now you would have had nothing to block with. Yep. Then if I attacked the Silver Snake, it would have gotten at least one damage. Then I could have blown it up with Fester. It might have still been a bit of a dice problem, running out of resources there a little bit, but I think it might have happened. But either way, I loved feeling the sense of there's nothing I can do. Then drawing and realizing, oh, there was something I could have done. And if I'd known the deck better, right, I could have been like, okay, I need to bet the house on this, or just make sure that one's in my hand. Like knowing you're going up against Mayoni, that might become one of your first five. But,
sure. And you can basically just sit on it until it's the right time to play it, right? Like I get to 4 or 5 status tokens, and you basically just start my clock over.
Right.
And I think that illustrates a couple things. Obviously, we were playing with the decks that came just like Mayoni's in the core set, and yours is an expansion.
Is the out of the box. If you were to buy it as an expansion, this is exactly how it would come. Yeah.
But even if we played that same match 5 times, by the time we got to game 5, we would be playing so differently.
Yes.
And it's really cool that first 5 is a really great example of why I think this game's so great. We listed a bunch of reasons earlier, but ultimately the recognition that if there is a problem card, you can just go get an answer to it immediately. And so, sometimes in a game like this, we might be playing, it was random hands. I get the snake out and you're like, oh, I just didn't draw my answer to the snake. But that really should never be a problem in Ashes, which is pretty amazing. And honestly, it's part of what's terrifying because like you're so in control that if you're losing, it's really on you.
It's your fault.
Yeah. You can't be like, oh, I just rolled bad or I drew the wrong cards. And there's a little bit of that, but like,
there's always going to be a little bit of that. Like, but the reality is I think on balance, there's less of it than there are in some other games of this type, which again is why when I was playing here and I was feeling like, oh, I don't have a way of stopping this, I'm going to lose. There was still this sense of satisfaction, which is, oh, if I was just a little more clever or on the ball or anticipating, there actually was a couple ways out of this. I just didn't see them in time, and that's kind of like another kind of reassuring feeling sometimes as a player. Like, okay, I lost, but I think playing again, I'd feel a little more like, okay, now I know an extra trick in my toolkit that I wasn't aware of or wasn't utilizing the right way.
Yeah, it definitely, one of the things I love about these kind of games and Ashes in particular is that every time I play, even still, we've been playing every week since like August, or pretty much
Yeah.
every week. Um, and I feel like every time I play the game, there's something I'm taking away, like a lesson that I can use. And I think that contributes to the like you were saying, you just want to play again, because I think going back and using that same stack of cards, you know what you could have done different in those situations. So if we played again, you get to test out those
Yeah,
changes to your game plan
that's
immediately,
right.
and then you'll learn new stuff because the way the game goes will be different. And that way it reminds me a lot of chess, because it's like, well, they opened with the king's pawn moving up too,
Right.
and it's like I did this and then I traded for the bishop at this point. But if we actually got back to that same point again, there were 18 different things I could do, and I would be curious to know which one of those works out better. Super cool. It's just such a nuanced game, especially for the fact that you start with the resources, you start with your hand, you only have 5 cards a turn. It's not that complex, but the depth is incredible.
Yeah. And I think it's great too, because there's a certain you can make the mistake of, well, now I would. It's not a mistake to say I would do better. I think I would play better a second time around. But Zach, so would you. Like,
Sure.
you would also be coming to the table with a little more information about how my deck plays and so forth. So it's not like I go, okay, I've solved my Oni. I know how to deal with this now. You're gonna for sure lose this time. Like it's
Yep.
not like that, because you're going to play a little differently. The card draw is going to be different. Yes, you start with your open hand, but there's going to be little subtle adjustments. The dice I get might not be the ones I want or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's still fluid. And that's where, again, that's the drama, right? It is perhaps a little more dramatic than something as fixed as, and this is, I'm sure, a too broad of a statement, but something with more perfect information like chess,
Yeah.
because I'm sure people who play chess say there's lots of drama in there too. But it feels to me, because there is that hidden stuff. There is more randomness. There's a little hint of it in there. There
Yeah.
is that you can't quite anticipate everything that's going to come.
Well, and I think that's where, like, that's why when I say it's a better version of chess for me, I
Yeah,
know a
yeah,
lot of people love chess. It's
yeah.
just that reality that, like, in chess, a lot of times it's basically, if my opponent can memorize more of the game than I can,
Right.
it feels that way. But in this case, it doesn't feel. There's so much difference game to game that you can't just memorize the sequence. Although one thing that I've talked about doing with Steven is, like, basically when we have a matchup, play through that first round with the first 5 over and over again until you basically know your opening and
Yeah,
how to handle it so well that, like, because you can in this game it was really kind of friendly on that first turn,
yeah.
where, like, I don't feel like either of us got really far ahead there. But I've had games where Steven, where we get to the end of the first turn and it's like, oh, that went really poorly for me.
Sure. Yeah,
We just need to start that over because I did
yeah,
that
yeah,
completely wrong for sure. Okay, well, hey, Rodney, I know you got some time requirements. Was there anything else
yeah.
that you wanted to say before we get out of here? I seriously appreciate you taking the time to come on, playing Ashes. I'm looking forward to playing again. I would be curious to get your general take now that we played it. Obviously, we had a lot of discussions along the way, but playing the game like this, I know it's a struggle for you sometimes because of where you're located to get regular games in. But is this a way of playing the game that you think you'll be interested in continuing to do, on into the future? And what do
Well,
you think
yeah,
this
I would.
has? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that totally works. Like I really prefer playing with the physical components. I know there's a lot of people who are really enjoying and taking advantage of, tabletop simulator and Tabletopia, board game arena, other things. And I think those are all great tools. Like I'm really glad that those tools exist, for people who can't get together and play. But if I'm playing remotely, I'd rather do it like this, where I can see you, where we're talking, and I am holding the things that I bought, and
Yeah.
that I'm, like that I spent time with. I've spent time with this card. I thought about this card. I've read it. I've poured over it. I don't know what that is, but whatever that is, I prefer that so much more than jumping on to a digital implementation. So everything about this is attractive to me. And I don't know about you, I found it very easy to follow for the most part. Like I might have occasionally been like, okay, how many dice, or is that exhausted or not? But that's it. Like it was the occasional thing.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I didn't feel any speed bump there.
I think there's a lot to that conversation. We actually, I don't think it's up yet, but we recorded our last podcast was about that very concept, because we've been experimenting with webcam stuff for Flesh and Blood because they're doing a event series that's actually webcam based. And it was crazy because I've never really been into like TTS and stuff. There's just something there, all the stuff you were just saying. But I was surprised at how much I enjoyed playing both of these games. Now this was my first time playing Ashes over camera like this.
Right.
And I definitely think there are some games, Flesh and Blood and Ashes both hit this for me, that work in this format, that are easy to follow, that don't take up as much board space. And this to me is like so much preferable to like a TTS. But I know there are people that get used to like TTS and they enjoy that. But I do feel like the connection, like being able to see you and the way there's way more interaction in this format. And then there is something about the physical nature of these games, right? Holding the card, seeing the art, rolling the dice, moving stuff around the board. That's so much different to me than clicking a mouse. So personally, I enjoy it quite a bit. And it's cool that you agree, because that means that there's decent odds we'll play again at some point.
Yeah, I hope so.
Future.
I hope so. I mean, the biggest challenge for me tends to be just scheduling and time. But can I really think of a faster way of being able to play a game than to be able to, as long as the tech stuff's set up, just click a button and be connected with someone. I don't have to drive somewhere, we can just sort of turn on our devices and potentially jump in. So there's a lot of nice perks to being able to do it this way.
Yeah, for sure. That was honestly one of the terrifying realizations for me, is that like all of a sudden, because we have a Discord channel, and like at this point there's pretty much always games going on the Discord where you can play over video like this and other people can watch. But like the reality that if I have an hour pocket of time, I can go on, I can be like, hey, does anyone want to grab a game? And I can almost always find a game of Ashes and Flesh and Blood, like right now, which is awesome. And I can play, like yesterday, I played Flesh and Blood with someone from California and someone from Pennsylvania, which is amazing. And now I'm playing you from Canada, of course. But like
really international.
It's a little terrifying, because like it's so accessible to me that like it's really hard to not just, if I have an hour, to be like,
well, I guess I
want to go play a game. I guess I will. But yeah, I'm very curious to see, especially with the pandemic still going on, what the next 6 to 9 months looks like. We have a lot of cool stuff we're cooking up on that. But
I hope people who watch this stream, who are like, maybe they're interested in Ashes or have been like, and maybe are saying, I don't know if I have a local group yet, consider the possibility of being able to play it this way. Because again, not just for the sake of saying it to be nice, this was really fun. I really had fun. I hope people could tell I was enjoying myself, even as I was through my sweat. I was still like really enjoying myself. And I wouldn't want this to necessarily be the only way I experience Ashes, but if it was, I don't know. I'm getting everything from it that I really like. That tension of choice and everything. Like I said, I was able to follow what you were doing. It wasn't work to figure out what my opponent was doing. I think it also helped. People can't see this. I'll put my overhead on just for a second. But the other nice thing about Ash's decks traditionally is your opponent might only have like 10 or so cards anyway in their deck, and 3 copies each if they're running full copies. I don't know if people can see or not, but I just had in front of me, there's your Mayoni, there's your fiendish, evil silver snake, your Gilder, and I had your ready spells out. So I could just kind of look down and kind of know what I was like, what was there. I didn't have to necessarily rely on what I was seeing on the stream. And over to the side, I just had your cards, just in piles based on the different types. So if you said, oh, I'm going to play Empower, I could just grab it. And I'd have to go to you, what does Empower do again? I could just read it and go, oh, here's what Empower does as a reminder. So I'm not slowing your game down reading to me.
Yeah, and super handy.
You know what I mean? Like there's little things you can do to make the experience smoother for your opponent and for yourself as well. So again,
the way it's gone for me with this and even Flesh and Blood is like, I'm familiar enough with the cards that 95% of the cards I don't really have to ask about, and I know. And so once you get to that point, you get familiar with your deck, you get familiar with your opponents.
Yeah, it gets breezier at that point. Yeah,
it's crazy. I was actually just kind of shocked at how easy it was to play like this. And I do think for a lot of people, obviously Ash is coming through the PDP model. A lot of people getting into it that don't necessarily know of other people that play it yet. And I think this is potentially a really great way to play this game. And it's a different thing, right? Like obviously you'll have your game groups that you play with and the people you regularly play with at the table. But like the ability, like I said, to play people from all across the world That's something a lot of board games just couldn't even think about offering that to let you play with the physical components across the camera, as it were.
Yeah,
So that's really cool.
I can see Wade Jones here in the chat says, I think I'm always afraid of putting myself out there in Discord for the, hey, who wants to play when I don't know anyone there? And I understand that. Like, it is honestly very different. I know Zach. I like Zach. I want to play a game with Zach. I wouldn't, I wouldn't necessarily enjoy just playing with a random stranger necessarily. But I mean, you can also give yourself the grace to bow out of a match that you don't get a good vibe out of the first 5 or 10 minutes with somebody. It's your life. It's your time. You can let the person know before you start the match, hey, I'm interested in giving this a shot. If I don't feel comfortable or this is going good, I might bow out or whatever. It sucks, but I wouldn't be surprised if you find, especially in these smaller communities, and hopefully Ashes, it doesn't remain a smaller community, but people tend to be so excited and passionate about the thing that they're just eager to have somebody else to play with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think you probably end up hitting more than you miss in terms of finding people who are going to be fun to play with. That would be my guess.
I think I don't know how it is for you, but like our YouTube channel, like our live stream chat and our Discord channel, the vast majority of people I've seen interacting, super positive, super friendly, super welcoming. And one of the nice things about the fact that it is a webcam, you didn't like go to a store and meet a random person to play, is that you get into a game or you get one game down and you're not feeling it, you can always obviously just be like, hey, I got to run, thanks for playing,
right,
and then move along. But I've randomly played against like 6 or 7 Flesh and Blood players now, and like they've all been fantastic. So
well, there you go. That's good anecdotal evidence right there of having tried it and being overly. So Jackie here in the chat says, meet people in the chat. People are here because they like this game. And Jackie's sort of living proof of that, because I know Jackie made a couple of friends, I think really close friends now, through just being in the chat of other YouTube streams, and now they're streaming together stuff and playing games. So you can find people in the community just through, again, this very safe, hopefully safe space here where people are just chatting and having fun watching a stream and going like, oh, I like this person's sense of humor, or like we're kind of like having a little back and forth in this chat. Hey, do you want to go play a game together? And you've just increased the odds that you've probably found someone you're going to have a good time spending with, right?
For sure. Well, I had a great time here, Rodney. I am so happy we finally got a chance to do this. I'm looking forward to playing more. We'll have to do it again. And really just looking forward to it. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here? I really appreciate it.
Look, let me just thanks for inviting me on. I'm really glad we could make it work. It was fun for me to be able to play this. It was nice to be able to hang out with you, of course, and really nice to be able to hang out with people in the chat here who came along and watched too. Thanks for joining us. Fun to be able to share a little bit of our passion for this game, and I know there's some Ashes players watching here, eagerly waiting for the new Reborn, and maybe some future ones who think this looks kind of interesting and they might want to explore it. I hope you do. I've had a great time with this game. I can tell you that. Let me find this here. I have my BG stats where I sort of track the games I play. It's not perfect. I sometimes forget to track certain things, but I think Ashes is like the most played game in my collection.
Wow.
So when I say it's one of my favorite games, it's not just one of those throwaway lines, because there's lots of games I love and enjoy and stuff, right? And I would speak favorably of, but I've spent a lot of time with this game. Doesn't mean people watching are going to enjoy it. Everyone likes different things, but I certainly have enjoyed the time I spent with it, and I look forward to spending more time with it. Thanks, Zach. Thanks for having me on. It was really, really fun.
Yeah, of course. And I've said this a few times when we have you on, but I genuinely mean it. Please keep doing what you do. You're doing an incredible service for the entire tabletop community. I know a ton of people that have gotten involved in this community because of you specifically. So kudos to you for taking the time to be on here and for continuing to produce such incredible, how to play, watch it play videos across the board.
Yeah.
Absolute privilege, and hopefully at some point we'll have you back on either this or the podcast and check in with you. And so everyone out there, stay safe, stay warm. Thank you again, Rodney, and we'll catch you guys next week on Ashes Wednesday.